Alright. Honestly, today I'm just gonna be farming. It's just gonna be farm today. So we need resources. I decided to commit to a build, so I was like really waiting for a long time to commit to something. And now I am basically decided to commit to a variant of this build. It's not going to be this build, but there's going to be Immortal Frozen Orb Sorc. So I can get it done. I tested it. No, and I cannot do this. I would like to, because it's also part of my... So I think it's better for the Immortal variant. But I still don't have the rings to test it. But I will test it at some point. So there's basically a new iteration of this build, which I tested. I have to change my hotkey, by the way. So there's a new iteration of this build, and that's going to be Immortal. So you can definitely get permanent flame shield with this build. I tested it, and it works. I just need to upgrade my gear, and I need a little bit more cooldown reduction. But I could basically make it to, like, where I have 1 second cooldown left before I can do the next flame shield. And I did that without, so with just 8 out of 12 Masterwork gear and a lot of missing cooldown reduction stats. So I think that is going to be the final iteration of this build, honestly, because you can reach so much cooldown reduction with Ice Blades and Ice Blades enchant that you can have permanent flame shield. No, it's not gonna do less damage. It's gonna do more damage, actually. The only thing with the Immortal build is, so I have to check the attack frames on Flame Shield, on Frozen Orb. And if I can reach 1 more frame, then I test it. Then it's definitely possible. The problem is, at least for now, I have to play Tal Rasha ring because I don't have enough cooldown reduction. And that might be fixable with Ice Blade's cooldown reduction temper on rings, but I'm not sure if it does. So that still has to be tested because I don't have the upgraded items, and I'm like right now trying to upgrade my Shako, and I literally remasterworked this like, I don't know, 20 times, and this only has 4, right? And I didn't hit cooldown reduction once in 20 masterworks, so but so I have a new focus which I can max roll cooldown reduction on, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, I am sure you can reach permanent flame shield because I have, so if you can't, right, you can definitely do it, but then you would have to remove Shako. So if you remove Shako and put a 3rd defensive item on, it's super easy. Or if you remove Asus and put a 3rd defensive item on. No, I didn't change my Paragon board. So I think you can put defenses on boots, right? But I mean, dropping Asus is going to be an issue. But dropping Shako also. So I want to get it done with 2 items. But I basically have these 2, right? Where's this? This one's here. So I have this one here, which I... so literally, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to do Flame Shield duration. I want to test it, right? So I just tempered these with, like... And literally, like, I tempered this instantly. So I reset like once or twice to get the flame shield duration, and I did it twice, and I instantly basically had hit like 2 crits on flame shield duration with these. This is a bad roll, but you know, I might do another one. So if I upgrade these, this is also going to +5 flame shield, and this is probably gonna go. I don't know how high it goes. It's like 5% per. So let's say it goes like 5% higher or something like that. And I get +1 more defensive flame shield here. Then I just need some extra cooldown reduction, and then I'm gonna be good. I was like really, I was almost at I was almost there, and I still can optimize like some attack speed and some cooldown reduction. I don't know if overall strongest Sorg build is. That is not a good question, honestly. It depends what you want to do, because every build is good for something. This one is relatively slow in Helltides, for example. Wait, I have to change hotkeys 1 second. So this is relatively slow in Helltides. This is good at mid, or a little bit higher than mid-tier farming. And rolls. Wait. So, okay, no, I got it, because I played a different build. So this is very good at farming these not very high tiers, but a little bit higher tiers than, you know, having absolutely no rewards. But this is not so strong pushing bosses right now. But if I can do Immortal, I think this is gonna be strongest pusher for Sorg, maybe. Maybe still Blizzard, I don't know. Maybe Ball Lightning, I haven't seen anybody play with Ball Lightning yet. Also, I tested, like a lot of people have been telling me that there's like a maximum of Ice Blades, so that's bullshit. There's no maximum of Ice Blades, so screw that, it's not true. So without Ice Blade's enchantment, I was able to get 7 up, and with Ice Blade enchantment, I was like 9 or 10 or something like that. So there's definitely not a limit for Ice Blades. And then I tested another thing. I tested Lucky Hit Chance on Ice Blades, which is actually not bad. So, I don't think it's worth putting Lucky Hit on any items. But it might be more beneficial than Intelligence, maybe. But I don't know, I have to calculate it. But essentially, so Lucky Hit on... So the Ice Blades are actually throwing like quite a few Frozen Orbs. Like, I was actually surprised. I was testing it on the dummies. And they throw way more Frozen Orbs than I expected. So I was expecting they'd literally do nothing. But, you know, they kind of did some work. And it's also explained in the video why I have that on there. Because I still think that it's better, but I don't have the items to test it. And that's totally normal. No, I never said that Lucky Hit Chance is not good for this build. I just said that on the most items, it's not as good as other stats. So Lucky Hit Chance is definitely not as good as Critical Strike Chance. Lucky Hit Chance is definitely not as good as Intelligence. Lucky Hit Chance is definitely not as good as Attack Speed. But on a chess piece for an aspect which I basically get nothing of... Oh, I hate this boss so much. Then his Lucky Hit Chance is actually good, because it's basically free on that aspect. So, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that other stats are better. But again, I was surprised by the amount of lucky hit. So by the amount of orbs the ice blades actually throw. I can show you. It's actually it's quite a bit. I mean, I don't have enchantment master right now, but you can still I can still show you like it actually makes a big impact. And that's why I was like, I mean, I still cannot get lucky hit on any other items regardless. I mean, I could get it instead of intelligence, but I don't think that makes any sense. You might be able to get it on a focus. You could get lucky hit, crit, and intelligence on a focus, I guess. Oh no, you can't. You have to get cooldown reduction. So really, you don't really have items to get lucky hit on. Other than that, lucky hit is not bad. So if you go for bosses here, right, and then you put in Ice Blades enchant here, and now let me just hit this for like until I have like a couple of Ice Blades here, right? And then I'm gonna stop casting Frozen Orbs. So I have 13 Conjuration now. Look. So I mean, these are doing some work, right? It is not like, you know, it is maybe like 1/3 of the Frozen Orbs I throw myself, but I mean, it is more than I expected, right? So I stop again at like 11 Conjurations now. Oh look. So I mean, this is not nothing, right? So and it's just the Ice Blades basically. So the other ones are pretty much irrelevant. But the Ice Blades are not terrible. They are pretty much alright. And that's why I basically put lucky hit where I can get it for free. Which is basically just this aspect on the chest piece, because these 25% are free. I cannot get anything better on here, right? But other than that, I really don't have an option. Like I could get like it on the gloves instead of intelligence, but I don't think it makes any sense. And on the rings, you also cannot really get it. So there's really no other spot to get lucky hit chance. That's why I still think it's not a good stat to get, right? But it's, you still want to pick it up where it is available. By the way, yeah. What was I gonna do? No clue. Ah, change the enchantment. Ah, god damn it. No, I have the wrong enchantment. I have no burning. Let's see if I can make it anyway. No, Blizzard. Well, survivability is not, and don't think in survivability, it's irrelevant. Like, literally, survivability doesn't matter in this game. You are gonna be one shot no matter how defensive you build with this little sorceress girl. So again, there's nothing like which build is better. You always have to ask for what. I'm not gonna tell you what build has more potential, because again, it's different. It differs from build to build. It differs on your gear level. It differs on your playstyle. It differs on the time investment. It differs on the available gear you have. Like there's like so many different things to account for. What attack speed does for Blizzard? Well, you can do more Blizzards. I have no Firebolt enchantments, it's like horrible right now. That's another cool thing. If you have permanent Flame Shield, you also have permanent Burning. For free. So, I mean, I definitely will build Immortal Frozen Orb. It's definitely gonna work. I just don't know how much cooldown reduction I need to invest. So, efficient for farming pit materials, it's gonna be Frozen Orb. Well, that is exactly the thing. I cannot tell you, because on higher levels, Blizzard is gonna be better, because it's better on bosses. But again, it depends on your gear level. So if you, like, theoretically, if you have perfect gear, I cannot tell you because I don't have. But my assumption is if you have perfect gear, Blizzard will push higher, but is significantly slower. But again, I cannot tell you because it's impossible to have perfect gear at this point. So that's why I'm saying it's important for that question. How much gear do you have and how much time do you want to invest? Because to get Frozen Orb going above tier 61, you need to get quite some gear. To get Blizzard going above tier 61, you really don't need a lot of gear. So you always gotta put this into perspective. So as you can see, I'm not doing any damage because I literally don't have burning. A little bit depressing because I forgot to switch back my skills. But I think still this is going to be better for bosses if you don't use Firebolt enchantment, I think, and you just use the Hydra with the burning. So, but yeah, without burning on bosses, you're pretty screwed. No, that's just a fun build. Like, it's not a good build. I mean, it's okay if you want to farm like tier 61s, but it's not very strong. I would not recommend playing Godslayer Crown, no. So, the thing with Godslayer Crown, look at this. This has 46. Mine has 43. This is just slightly better than mine. I'm gonna put this away. This has 6 point, but mine has better cooldown reduction roll though. So the thing with Godslayer Crown is, you use Godslayer Crown if you like in the old. I'm in the old days. By the way, like stupid to say, but you know, let me just. Do I want to do? I think I want to do 1 second. Screw this stagger here. I don't need stagger. Let's get. Let me try this. So. In the old days, you used to kill the boss within like 10 seconds or 15 seconds, like with a Blizzard build, for example, or with a Ball Lightning build. So you used to play Godslayer Crown because the boss fights used only to last for like, 10 seconds. So then you used to play Godslayer Crown because you get like this 60% multiplier for the first, what is it, like 4 seconds of the guy or something like that? Like 4 seconds of the fight. You get 60% multiplier. And if the 4 seconds of the fight is basically, half of the fight, it's good. But if you're not in that scenario, let's say you are playing this build and you want to kill the boss, and your first Godslayer proc is going to be done before the boss is even staggered, so it's literally going to be wasted. And then your second Godslayer proc is going to like randomly, so you basically just get like way too little uptime on that buff. So I would highly recommend not using that and just use like a regular helmet. Especially because you can temper on that and get mana cost reduction and get mana regeneration and stuff like that. So it's this thing with Godslayer. I didn't test Ball Lightning yet, and I'm probably not gonna do it anytime soon, so I really can't tell you. You would probably have to search for someone who is playing Ball Lightning. It is simply not possible to invest gear into like too high-end builds, because it's... I mean, it is possible if you play 24 hours a day, but, you know, I can only play like a couple of hours a day, so I cannot really... I mean, you don't have to pass on it, you can like use it, but it's just not the perfect item. What was I gonna say? So it's for me at least, it's not possible to feed 2 builds with items. I cannot even feed this 1 build because I'm, you know, kind of testing too many stuff, like too many different variants. So I really cannot play like a second build until the degree where I could actually judge if it's gonna be having a good potential or not. But I mean, I think, you know, Ball Lightning probably has a high damage potential, but I think it might even have enough stagger. But what you're gonna do with Ball Lightning after your 3 stagger phases are over is you're gonna be done, because you're literally not gonna have anything anymore. Like, you have no crowd control or anything, you're just like melee, like dead body. And I don't know how high the damage actually scales of Ball Lightning. I mean, I like the idea because Ball Lightning has a very, very high attack speed breakpoint. No, Tormented Duriel has 5 times the drop chance. I pressed Unstable Currents and I wanted to press Flame Shield. Anyway, so now I'm not playing Firebolt enchantment now, and I want to test... Oh, and that was a mistake, doing Flame Shield there, but it didn't spawn. So, I kind of feel like the Firebolt enchantment damage matters. But, I don't know. I'm doing like no damage right now. I don't know why. This shouldn't take this long. I want to go back to Firebolt enchantment. Again, max roll builds are not very advanced. It's like... I mean, I do not recommend to play max roll builds. I find like these Tal Rasha rings all the time, and they're all like garbage. So I didn't like this variant, actually. I wonder why. Kind of weird. But I feel like the Firebolt enchantment is actually doing like quite good amount of damage. So what was I gonna do? I wanna do some more tempering on my Shako, but I'm gonna do some more farming. Am I doing these right now? So I have a new focus, by the way. Maybe I try tempering this one, because I really like this focus here. Where is it? Where is it? Is it this? So I got this baby here. This is like a very good one. So let's see if we can get it working, right? Or if we can brick it. Oh, look at this. First hit. Very nice. 15%. I mean, it's not as good as... Well, it's even better than mine. I like that. So I could go for the gamble here. To hit the... Well, actually, I don't want to have damage to frozen enemies anymore. So I actually want to have... I think damage to close is actually the best, but I kind of have a feeling it's not that good, actually. But, you know... I think I'm gonna settle for cold or vulnerable damage here. Even though it's a risk. I leave it with this for now. And the stagger, that is good. So let's do some enchanting on this one. So now comes the, I only have 700 of these angel breaths left, man, and I'm like, let's go cooldown reduction. What am I gonna do if I run out of enchanting materials? It's gonna be like very, very terrible. Like it's so hard to farm, then oh my god, I'm so lucky. Perfect. This is very, very good. So let's do some... how many do I have? So I still have the blue ones, I think. 110, so I need some more. What is this? I need this one. How many do you actually need? I have no idea, actually. Let's see. Okay, Masterworking. Look at this. It's my lucky day. That's like a joke. Okay. That's like that's skill, you know. What do I need on here? That's like high skill masterworking here. $14.4 crit. This is like a really good piece, actually. Like greater FX crit is like so good. I'm gonna go to like tier 78. But again, I have to farm so many resources. It takes a long time. And again, for the Immortal build, I have to get a bunch of cooldown reduction. And I have to... I mean, I don't want to get Tal Rasha ring, but I might have to. I guess it depends on how much cooldown reduction I can get. I really have to balance it out. I have so much gold because I don't play on Seasonal Realm. So like, these lightning guys are like out of control. It's not even a lightning guy. That's what you get. For playing glass cannon. Yeah, it's 10%, but again, I might not need it. That is the point. So I don't need to overshoot it because... So you have to balance this against an attack speed breakpoint, right? So if I get a Tal Rasha ring, I lose 15% plus attack speed. And that if that costs me an attack speed breakpoint, I will have more cooldown reduction without the Tal Rasha ring. Because I will get more Ice Blades. And the Ice Blades also attack faster, which is also, by the way... It's something not to underestimate. The attack speed of the Ice Blades is directly related to your cooldown reduction from the Ice Blades. So, if you play Tal Rasha with this, you basically have to play an aspect. So, you either have to then drop your second attack speed ring as well and go for Ancient Flame, which is a possibility. Or... you have to settle for a lower attack speed. And again, I have to calculate the frames for that, so I cannot tell this right now. It depends where the frame is. Because without the Tal Rasha ring, with the Tal Rasha ring, you're just gonna get like 70% attack speed. Somewhere around that. And if the 70% attack speed frame is the same than the 85% attack speed frame, then it would be okay. But if the 85% attack speed frame would be 1 frame faster than the, you know, the 70% attack speed frame, then you have, so then you would actually have more cooldown reduction with more attack speed on the ice blades and the frozen orbs and everything. So that is really something, so it's something to balance out. It's not just the raw number of cooldown reduction which matters there. Because also cooldown reduction has a pretty significant diminishing returns. So the more cooldown reduction you really get, the less valuable it is. Oh, that was a bad flame shield. I am lucky enough. Oh, I forgot to gamble. Take Elementalist as legendary node? I don't know what that means. I don't really understand it, I'm sorry. I have the build posted on my channel. It's like really that's what I want to do. So now I have a good focus. am I still gambling rings? Or am I at this point gambling gloves actually? I think well, I still have this, I'm like really, I'm gonna go for rings. I have the attack speed bonus from the board already. That is already calculated in. Don't care about this here. Focus on teleport. You can play Frosty Strides. It's like a speed farming build, right? So that is definitely a playable build. Also, the old teleport builds, like all the gauntlet builds, they are still working. Like, if you like really want to like stress it, you can play Hectic on your amulet, but still the builds are pretty much all same working. I don't know the attack speed. So, I have to check what the breakpoints are. I don't really know it at this point. That is like very, very min-maxing where the breakpoints are. Yes, that is correct. There is defensive skills on the chest piece. And that's where you get the Frost Nova from. Oh, wow. It's also said in the video. I always recommend watch the videos because I usually explain these things. I can tell you, like right now I'm going for the maximum attack speed because the breakpoints are in the lower levels usually pretty close together, right? So if you like get like way over 100%, like if you get into like the 150% attack speed range, you get way less breakpoints. But you know, from like 0 to 100% attack speed, there's actually many breakpoints. So there might be a breakpoint at 80, one at 90, and maybe one at, you know, 100. But it's also possible that the breakpoint will be at 101 or something like that. So we basically got 50% extra attack speed, right, from accelerating and what's called unstable currents. So basically the maximum what you could reach would be 100%, 150%. But if 150% is not an attack speed breakpoint, right? If the breakpoint is at 130% and the next one is at 161, basically the attack speed breakpoint for Fireball was at 161, but I think all the skills have different breakpoints. But let's just say it would be at 161. You would never be able to reach this breakpoint. So you could revert down to the next breakpoint, which might be at 140%. So if that breakpoint would be at 140%, you would have to get 90% attack speed on your gear. And that would mean you cannot play Tal Rasha ring, because you cannot reach 90% attack speed with a ring without attack speed. Or you would have to sacrifice an aspect, basically, and get aspect of Ancient Flame. And then you would have, then you could actually remove attack speed on your second ring as well. So it is really like an act of balance to figure out these breakpoints. But again, that is like very, very min-maxing, right? It is really just gonna matter on like the very, very high end. Well, that was too early, I think. Huh. I hate this boss. It has like too much HP. I feel like I'm missing damage. I don't know where it is. Where's the damage gone? Oh my god. That is not good. Why do I have no damage? That's the story of the sorceress, right? You're just an area of effect class. You're not a single target class. Okay, let's just get a little bit closer. Maybe that was the issue there. What? So, tier 79 is too high for double HP boss for my farming right now, I feel like. I have to go 2 tiers lower again. I was testing it, but this is definitely too much HP to farm. Wow, too early. Definitely too much HP, this guy. What is happening? Oh, that's Lilith. So out of here. No, not Lilith. Go away. Oh my god, I have to go 2 tiers down again. This has like too much HP. I am working on changing Frozen to Close, but I think I have 2 Close rolls. But again, I want to try to get into Permanent Flame Shield. And for Permanent Flame Shield, I'm not focusing on the Stagger, basically. So that's why I want to get damage to Close. But in general, like all my damage tempers are like completely terrible. Like I have the worst damage tempers on my entire gear. Like on most of my gear, I just have flat damage tempers, which are the very lowest roll you can get. So I'm missing like at least 400 or 500% additive damage just from tempers alone. But I just don't have the base items. So that is one of the biggest issues I really have with this with the tempering system is that the RNG on tempering is so high and base items are so rare. I really feel like there should be a way to reset tempering, or at least get more tempering attempts. Just make 10 instead of 5 or something like that. I just feel like it's too much RNG. Like you have to find like... The problem is you have to settle for like suboptimal stats. Like, you know, if you're tempering an item, and you know the best stat would be, for example, let's say damage to close, right? You want to get damage to close, and you are like at your third tempering attempt, and you get damage to crowd control or something like that. Or like flat damage, the low roll, the 40%. So what do you do at this point, right? So you have 2 tempers left. Are you gonna settle for at least some damage and not bricking the item? Or are you like gonna gamble? So I just feel like that decision is like really, really hard to make. Unless obviously you have already like the item with the bad stat, you already have it, right? So you can use other items then to keep tempering until you hit the perfect one. But then you need to find like all these additional base items. And the base items are pretty rare already. So I really feel like the tempering is too random. Especially with the offensive rolls, because they have 5 to 6 different mods. With the defensive rolls, it's pretty easy. The most just have 3. So that's, I feel like that's a good amount. Like a 1 in 3 chance out of 6 total tempers. That is basically, you know, statistically, you will get what you want on every single item. Obviously, that's statistic. But... Ooh, I hate that guy. Messed up the flame shield timing. I so hate this this shadow clone. It's like the worst of all. Also, I hate that the orbs are always exploding behind the boss. I don't know what's the deal with that. So, the thing with Firebolt enchantment is, I think it's not the best for boss fights, but also if I switch it off, I feel like I'm doing significantly less damage. So it does some damage. It is not like the Firebolt enchantment does nothing. It ticks for like 500k, like every, like 4 times a second, so it does like 2 million damage a second. But I guess ideally it is not the best enchantment. I guess ideally you wanna do like this here, right? Which removes a lot of damage during the dungeon. And then you wanna get Hydra with burning. But obviously, like if I wanna go the infinite flame shield, I will have permanent burning from flame shield, right? So the issue is gonna disappear, and then I can safely play the Ice Blades enchant. So, but yeah. Yeah, the Tornado Shadow clone is ugly as well, but I usually dodge these with flame shields. But I have a big problem with that guy, because like the initial attack animation from that guy takes like 3 seconds, so you need your entire flame shield basically to dodge that. And then after that he spawns the blood pools, and you have to dodge these as well. So I really have to move, which is kind of a big deal, because when I'm moving I cannot damage. And since you only have like a certain time frame where you can make damage while the boss is staggered, at least at this state of the build, it is like kind of an issue. That's why I hate this one the most. But yeah, as you can see, like if you don't play Firebolt enchantment, the dungeon is slower, but I'm playing 77 tier right now, so it's not a big deal. But if you're playing like 90, it is a big deal actually. Like your damage in the dungeon is going to be significantly lower. But that's what I wanted to have the permanent flame shield ban, because that issue is not going to be there with flame shield. Because it's just going to burn everything anyway. Yeah, sorceress does not do much single target damage. Like that's kind of expected. So in I guess in Diablo 3, like Sorc was pretty good on single target, but in D4, like Sorc is like absolutely terrible on single target. But it's like very, very fast at farming, like, you know, lower dungeons because of teleport and everything. And the AoE is like really, really amazing. But yeah, the single target damage is kind of terrible. And this build is like kind of cheesing the single target damage by doing like extremely fast stagger. But so yeah, like single target damage is like very, very bad. Yeah, I use Avalanche right now. Oh, that was early flame shield there. Ah! I pressed teleport. So I would have beaten Uber. I tried Uber Lilith, and you know I tried it like 3 or 4 times. I got like to the last phase, to the last platform without any problems. But I don't know the mechanics because I literally never played that fight. So if I would know the mechanics I have to do on the last platform, I can absolutely easily kill Uber Lilith. But I don't want to learn these mechanics at this point, so... But it's definitely not a big deal to beat Uber Lilith with this. How win more Conjuration to the passive? Why do we do more? Well, we don't do more damage if more enemies are there. Our damage is just area of effect, so it hits all enemies. I cannot give you any hardcore advice. I don't want to be the one who makes you die. I don't play hardcore. I really have no clue what you do. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna touch that one. I'm not gonna go above my level of competence. Really? You don't get close to... Okay, so... Like, getting to stage 2 was, like, extremely easy for me. And the entire stage 2 was also, like, a complete cakewalk. But, so I was doing a little bit too low damage in stage 2, so the boss always had, like... it had, like, 15% left when I reached the last platform. And then he is like doing all the mechanics I don't know. So usually when I did Uber Lilith, when he reached the last platform, he always had like 1% HP and I just had to finish him off. And just press Flame Shield to dodge the mechanics. So if I would optimize the build into Uber Lilith so I could do like the 15% more damage to get him on the last platform at 1%, then I could kill it no problem. I will do it sometime this week when I optimize my gear a little bit more. But, I mean, if you have to play the last platform mechanic, I feel like... I don't know. It's probably not difficult, I just don't know the patterns. Like, I just see, like, you know, she set the ground on fire, and I don't know which direction I have to run. Or, like, he does, like... I think he does, like, a red explosion in the very middle, and you have to go to, like, the order platform or something like that. So, if I would learn that mechanics, I could also do it right now, but... You know, like, I really don't need it at this point, so... So the second crit is essentially waste. So if you're super min-maxing, you could reset, but you could also like save your materials and keep it like that, because you know what? It is not that dramatic, because that item is not so important what you actually hit. I mean, it's nice if you get the cooldown reduction, but that's again super min-maxing. So if you don't want to try to go for like this permanent flame shield I'm like approaching right now, the cooldown reduction is not such a major deal. So I would just keep it, honestly. But you don't even have to upgrade it. It's not gonna get much stronger. So I would just keep it at 8 out of 12 and honestly upgrade other items. Because you're not gonna get anything upgrading it other than, you know, a tiny bit of cooldown reduction. But upgrading the other items is actually way more impactful. So I don't know if I killed the boss faster with this. It's like... I also feel like if I remove Avalanche, I'm gonna like badly run out of mana. Oh, there was like a terrible click on that flame shield. You have to be so disciplined, not waste your flame shield. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, I mean, that's why I say if I mess up my flame shield timings, I have to run from the Fire Nova, because you really need to have like some distance to dodge that. I have a video in the description of this video where it's called like Frozen Orb FAQ, so I explain in detail why I don't play Tal Rasha Ring. So you want to watch that? Let me enlighten you. Maybe I do 78. Yes, I tried Lilith. And if I would know the mechanics of the last platform in phase 2, I would kill it. Duriel? Not long. 1 minute. But I don't need anything from Duriel, so I'm saving... So I guess you mean Tormented Duriel, right? Or you do mean like the normal Duriel? The normal Duriel is gonna take like 15 seconds. Maybe 10 seconds. It's like gonna die instantly, basically. But the Tormented one's probably gonna take like a minute and a half, maybe. I don't know. Depends on how long he's like digging and... So let's say a minute and a half battle time, not... you know, when he's like burrowed, I'm not gonna count that into the timing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The last... I had the same problem, like, the last part of phase 2, I wasn't doing, like, enough damage to get it to, like, 1% before that part. And I just don't know the mechanics. Like, I don't know the patterns. But everything until then is actually pretty easy. You don't need any HP. Look, I got 16k HP. So HP really, like, you don't need it. Unless you're playing lower levels and you're, like, super sloppy. But, you know, I rather die, like, once in a while than, you know, downgrading, like, by 5 tiers. Just to be able to, you know, sustain some stuff. And still, you're gonna... At a certain point, you're gonna get one-shot by the boss mechanics, no matter how much HP, no matter how much damage reduction you build. It's like literally not gonna matter. You can use green gem on weapon, but it's not the best one. The best one is the blue gem. So I killed Lilith in phase 1 with the third Stagger, actually. So phase 1 was pretty easy for me, but phase 2, it's super difficult because he keeps moving all the time and it's gonna reset like your conjuration stats, stacks, and you cannot be close all the time, and I have like a lot of damage to close and stuff like that, so that phase is not really optimal for me. And I think... What? I pressed Flame Shield, dude. I think damage to close is not optimal. I don't know what the actual range for damage to close is. But I just feel like if I'm close, my frozen orbs are gonna go through that. And I'm not gonna do the maximum damage. But then I feel like if I'm like right in it, like if I'm a little bit too far away, I'm not triggering damage too close. Like you see these orbs exploding there where the hydras are. So I don't really know what is close and what not on these bosses. It's like a little bit hard to know because sometimes the models are larger than the actual hitbox. I hate this boss, by the way. Yeah, I know it's not really melee range, so there is like a little bit of range involved. But that's why I'm saying it depends on the boss model, right? So sometimes the boss is like this large, right? But the hitbox is just here. And sometimes the boss is like this large, but the hitbox is like this. Like if you're standing here, you would still be close. So that's why I don't really like the damage to close all that much. Attack power and damage is not the same. Attack power basically means nothing. So yesterday, you remember yesterday I had 45k attack power, now I have like 27k attack power. You know what happens if I put my 200 stuff on again? Guess what? Where is it? Look, I have 45k attack power. Guess what? I have 27k attack power. You know why? Because this stuff here, it only takes the main hand damage for calculating the attack power. Because attack power is just like a completely useless stat, which literally means nothing. Well, 18 is also okay. Like, it's not like it's unplayable if you have 18 mana per second. It works with 18. The 20 I have is just because I have like Shako and the resource generation. But 18 is also okay. It's gonna work with 18 as well. It's just not gonna work with 10. The point I'm making in this video is if you have 10, it's not gonna work, right? So don't see that 20 like as a fixed point. So 18 is pretty much alright. But you definitely need one of these mana rolls. It's like very, very important. I'm not saying that Wand and Focus is better, I'm just, you know, testing different alternatives. And since I found some very good Wand and Focus, especially I have a very good Focus, and I don't have a good stuff, I switched for the time being, because I want to try like a permanent Flame Shield build, which is going to require me to have Wand and Focus, because I need the attack speed and the cooldown reduction. But still, like playing the stuff is fine. But I think on the super high end, it's gonna transition back into Wand and Focus. But always take into account the investment of tempering and masterworking a Wand and Focus is significant. So unless you are like really at the very, very high end, I would still recommend going with the stuff. Because it's just so much cheaper. No, if you have everything besides Shako, you can just use the other build. Shako is just gonna give you extra damage. That's it. It has nothing to do with the build itself. So if you don't have Shako, you want to get a ring, a helmet with mana regeneration stat on. Probably you have to test if you can get away without, because the Shako has a big resource generation roll, right? So you might want to get like a helmet with the mana regeneration roll on it. So here's the thing, right? These orbs exploding behind him, I don't know if they actually hit him. So that's the problem I have right now with the whole close story. Because if I'm standing close and these orbs exploding behind the mob, if they are not hitting him, I'm like wasting a lot of damage by playing close. But if I'm standing here, I don't know if I'm close or if I'm distant. I have to do that at the dummies also. I have to like elaborate the range. Because that's gonna be significant. But also that's, again, on the very high end, right? I think the Tormented boss and the Pit boss on like level 80 are probably somewhere around the same hit points, maybe? Maybe 80. Somewhere around that, I would say. No, it's not worth using Turel's Might. It's just, well, yeah, exactly, salvage it. And get a Shako from the vendor. That's the best thing you can do with Turel's Might. So the thing with Turel's is, I don't know, it really has no use at all, because, I don't know, if you look at the damage stat on it, I think it says like the spikes or whatever it spawns do like, the Holy Bolts do like 2k damage, right? Is it 2k damage, what it says? So, and 2k damage is like literally nothing. Like the damage on Turels, if it would be 20, no, even more, not 20k, it would have to be probably 50k, right? So if it would be 50k, then that item would be worth actually wasting like a legendary for that, I would say. Maybe 50k. Maybe 50k is a little bit high. Maybe we make it 20k. Okay? But 2k is just, you know, it's like a funny joke. Like, it's like Blizzard is going to be like, oh yeah, let's just, you know, waste all our time, like, creating this Turel's Might item. Let's just, you know, give it, like, this nice little effect. But you know what? We're just gonna give it, like, 2k damage, right? Like, because we can. It's just gonna look good, but it's not gonna do anything. So, that is Turel's Might. It's literally irrelevant. But it has maximum like resistances, which literally does nothing as well. So it's a good item, I guess. I put the damage numbers off. Like, it's just getting out of hand. It's like, I prefer to have the vision. It just helps me. Like, at this point, I really don't need the damage numbers anymore. So I have like a bunch of upgrading materials. I don't think I will get into the... I mean, I might have enough materials to get into the Immortal Flame Shield build story today. But it really depends how lucky I am with cooldown reduction tempers on my... what is it? On my Shako. Yeah, you get a Resplendent Spark from Uber Lilith. No, it doesn't work like Glacial Aspect, because Glacial Aspect does ice spikes, and ice spikes have like some crazy damage multipliers. And the Turel's Might thing is basically, I don't even know what it is. Is it like physical damage? Or is it spell damage? I don't even know. So it probably doesn't even get like ice spikes, for example, they get like multiplied with all your cold damage and stuff like that, right? And all your damage to like all your elemental damage. And I think Turel's Might probably just gets like your overall damage multipliers. I don't know what damage type it is, so I'm just speculating at this point. Like Sharpshooter is the best boss. Like I don't know what guys like. Why do I have problems with Sharpshooter? I love that boss. It only has half HP. You get multiple orbs with one hit because you have this chance for frozen orb projectiles to cast twice on your gear. Right? So that's where it's coming from. By the way, this weapon is terrible. I should remove the maximum life. Why do I even have maximum life on this weapon? Like, this is ridiculous. Let's be serious here, right? We're not gonna play maximum life. Let's get some damage. What damage can I get? Wait. There's better damage I can get, right? What, you can only get this crappy 30% damage attribute on a wand? Okay. That is, like, extremely depressing, right? Why you can get the big damage rolls on this? Like, wands are garbage. I want to have two-hand again. But I'm, again, the build is the build. I'm trying out stuff. So just because I'm playing something different now doesn't mean that it's not viable in the build. The build is tailored to be working with 200 stuff, and I will still recommend to everybody use the 200 stuff. And if you get to like very, 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 very late game, Wand and Focus becomes better. But even at this point, I'm just using it because it gives me, it's a little bit better to farm, but if I would be pushing higher tiers, this wouldn't be so good anymore at my current stage. Because I don't have the perfect gear to feed this yet. I'm playing it on this stage because I can farm a little bit more faster. Because the attack animation is faster, so I can move faster after throwing Frozen Orb. So it's giving me a little bit more farm speed. But again, I said I want to transition this into like a Flame Shield build. And the Flame Shield build is gonna require Wand and Focus, and that's why I'm currently upgrading a Wand and Focus. And I'm getting used to the cooldown reduction and everything. But still, I still stick to, I prefer the 200 for, you know, you gotta put it into perspective, right? So the guide is for a lot of people, right? So for 98% of the players, the 200 one is gonna be best because you're gonna achieve your goals faster. You're gonna have faster tempering, you're gonna have faster masterworking, your frozen orbs are gonna hit so much harder, you're gonna have less mana issues with the 200 stuff. And also the stats on the 200 stuff are better than Wand and Focus if you don't have a high rolled focus with greater affixes and everything, and you need the cooldown reductions and stuff like that. So really, still, for most people, the 200 stuff will be better until you really reach very late game. And it's also not a huge investment playing the 200 stuff. You really just need to upgrade it to 8 out of 12, which is pretty cheap. And then you can farm with that all day long. And then, you know, if you want to really get into real late game, you can wait for the... So I will post an updated version of this guide once I have the permanent Flame Shield story sorted out. And if you really want to push this to like the very late game and you accept that you want to farm like 50 plus hours just for the gear, you know, then you can do that. But, you know, I'm also going to be honest, when I do the guide, I would say, you know, you're probably going to invest 50 plus hours at least farming the gear, right? So And the version with the 200 stuff is just like so much faster to farm. And it matters. Like, these things really matter. For most people, at least. So, I mean, it has been like back, like, you know, in past seasons, everybody would be like on day 2 of the season, everybody would be posting like their guides with like, you know, Shako, Ring of Starless guys, everything unique, perfect, you know, and I'm like, you know, 99% of the people don't have these things. And I feel like it's not very beneficial. And I also feel like if you have the time investment to spend more than 50 hours plus farming into your build, you know what? You should be able to figure out how to switch from a two-handed weapon to like wand and focus. Do you reroll a 6? Well, if you have the free reroll, yes, go for it. You can get way better stats you can get vulnerable damage on the 200 stuff, for example. You can get I don't even know what else you can get. So you can get way better stats on the 200 stuff than the 60% damage. I think vulnerable damage you can get, which is the best one, I feel like. But you might also be... I think you can also get damage to crowd control or so. I'm not sure right now which one you can get. I would have to look it up. But the 60% damage is basically the worst stat you can get. So... So here, this is why I'm playing Wand and Focus, because... So, I always do like, you know, I do... if you can see, like, I'm doing this stutter step, right? So, what I'm doing is basically I'm holding left mouse to move, right? And then I keep pressing, like, the Q button to make the frozen orbs. And with the faster attack speed frames, I just generally move a little bit faster. And at this farming level, it just saves me a little bit of time. Because I gotta farm like a bunch of materials. Like I really need a lot of materials to feed the upgrades I want to do. Because I'm just like extremely unlucky usually masterworking. Look at these ice blades. So this ice blades enchant on this level really plays pretty cool. You don't really need the burning inside of the dungeon at this level. I would like to have that, but still, unfortunately, I mean, no, the bouncing fireball is not gonna go for higher level. So really, I mean, I only upgraded to 8 out of 12, right? So I could comfortably do like tier 61s. But, you know, it doesn't go much higher. So it really depends, like... I really have to figure out this close distance. I also don't get, why can't the Conjurations shoot the frozen orbs inside of the mob? That's like so weird that they shoot it like behind them. And I don't know if it like fully does the damage or not. Just always have the feeling I'm not close and I'm not doing the damage. I would not recommend to switch to Frozen Orb before you're level 100 and have your glyphs and everything maxed. I gotta be honest with you, that build is gonna require you quite a bit of gear. It's probably gonna require you, well, at least level 15 glyphs, but you know, it's better if you have max glyphs. So, I would not do it, honestly. I'm not gonna answer the question with the more DPS, because you have to say in what scenario. Ice shots is like okay to level with, I guess. But it's... I mean, in Helltide, I guess it's good because the mob density is so high. But I feel like Firewall will be still better. But I mean, Ice Shots is pretty cool with the new Frost Nova size. Wait, I'm dying here. Why am I dying? What is happening? Why Avalanche and not Verse Mastery? First of all, it's gonna help me with mana. Second of all, I did not confirm that Verse Mastery is bugged, and as long as I didn't test that myself, I'm not gonna give a damn what people say, because you know what? Like, it has been so often that people have been saying something is bugged where it's actually not true. Like, in my stream yesterday, there was like 5 people telling me 5 different things which were potentially not working, and you know what? It's all bullshit. So, I don't care if every single streamer on Earth is saying that it's bugged, because you know what? Somebody said it in the beginning, and then nobody tested it, and they all copied it. So, as long as I didn't test that, I'm not gonna use it. And also, again, I don't want to run out of mana. So, if it's really bugged, it's probably gonna be the better key passive, don't get me wrong. But I just don't wanna, make builds out of speculations at this point. But Overseer takes like a while. Like, it also, when I did it the first time, it also took me like 5 stagger phases. It really has a lot of HP. But literally, like, it doesn't do anything, right? It's like easiest with this build. All you have to do is stand in front of it and just press Flame Shield whenever he does like his blade swing hack skill or whatever it is. So it's like really the most relaxed boss. Right now I play Frozen Orb and Ice Blade enchantment. And I play Hydra with Burning. Well, level 94 is pretty good. The highest I did was level 89. But I was too lazy to fish for bosses. So I didn't push any higher. I could probably go to like 94-ish if I get a good boss. I just messed it up big time. I see your tornado. I'm not gonna get me down with that. What? Okay, let's do this again. Without messing up. I hope they don't lower the boss HP, actually. I just want them to nerf all the other classes. I really like the boss fights the way this is. I don't really care about the level. I mean, I don't like the boss fights in general. But I like that they are challenging. I don't want to be them too easy. What? Where was the sandstorm guy? I didn't even see the sandstorm guy. Do I even have yeah, I have burn. Yeah, you should get more Stygian stones, like that's definitely true. You get like way too little of those. I hate this. This shadow clone is just... So this is like one of the worst combinations you can get. Because... Okay, the boss has double HP and the shadow clone is the worst you can get. And the second shadow clone is the second worst you can get. So it's like super annoying. It's okay if I... Like, I can do this on like 75 without any problems. But on this level it's like really, really hard. But that's the point, that it takes... So, the damage of the shadow clones is just too high. But the boss fight is supposed to take that long. you know, this is high-level pushing, right? I mean, I'm farming right now. But if you're talking about high-level pushing, you want to push high-level content, you're not supposed to kill the boss in 30 seconds. That it doesn't... I mean, obviously it feels nice, but that has nothing to do with pushing. Like, if you want to play high-level content, like, you know, whatever you play, if you play World of Warcraft, you play Mythic Dungeons, or you know, you play Mythic Raiding or whatever, the boss fights take like 10 minutes. Right? So the boss fights should take long. That is the challenge. Because if I want to farm, then I'm just gonna go for low tiers and farm. If I want to farm, the bosses are not supposed to take very long. And that's why I'm settling for a certain level where I can farm. But if I want to push, I want to have a challenge. Because you know what? If I just play like stupid Holy Bolt Elixir and just wait to like fish for a boss which has minions so my Holy Bolt Elixir can kill it, like what's the point in pushing? Is that an accomplishment? It just shows that you have too much time and you're like interested in playing bullshit. But it like has nothing to do with your skill level, it has nothing to do with your gear. It's just you being like resilient, retrying, and then pressing record when you hit the right boss, and then you post the video. Oh, I just did a tier 130. Actually, I didn't do a single point of damage on the boss, but my Elixir of Holy Bolts killed it by itself. Like, well, congratulations, like, you're such a great player, but actually I don't give a shit. So, that is not how it's supposed to be, right? So you're supposed to do like a freaking 10-minute boss fight where you have to dodge mechanics and everything, but if every single mechanic is a one-shot and half of them are not even visible on the screen, then it's just too difficult. So that is the problem I have with this whole Shadow clone story. Like, the bosses itself are fine, you know, the mechanics of the bosses are alright, they are like, you know, relatively easy to dodge, but you still have to pay attention. But then if you have three bad Shadow clones, like, and they all one-shot you with different mechanics, then it's just getting out of hand. And they should do it like with the Uber Lilith fight, right? Whenever you get hit by a Shadow clone, you get a stack, and you know, whatever, like at 5 stacks or something like that, you're gonna take so much damage that you're actually gonna die. But they shouldn't just one-shot you in the first place. That is just... it's too unforgiving, right? And if an ability is supposed to one-shot you, then you have to make it visible. You have to make it visible, you have to realistically give me the chance to dodge it, and then it's alright, right? If there's a huge red, like, circle on the ground, and it takes like 2 seconds before it explodes and kills me, you know, that is alright, I have no problem with that. But some of these mechanics, like the invisible tornadoes, for example, like there's literally a tornado on the ground which has exactly the same color than the ground, and it one-shots you. So what's the point of that? That's just like, you know, it's completely unenjoyable, and nobody wants to play it. So why is it in the game? Right? Like this one, for example, right? This is a great mechanic. Like, even if I wouldn't have Flame Shield, right? It's easy to dodge. So, you know, okay, he's gonna do 2 abilities. He's gonna do the first one, the second one. You have a good second to dodge in between the waves. So that's a good mechanic. Totally fine. That just requires you to have like a little bit of, you know, skill or reaction timing or whatever you want to call it. I'm totally fine with stuff like this. But the barely visible stuff, like the guy who shoots like a circle this big with like these blood pools which explode within like 0.3 seconds and are hidden below your frozen orbs. Like, that stuff is not good. So, yeah. And yeah, damage, like hit points numbers would be amazing. I have no clue why they don't give you hit point numbers on the bosses. Just tell me how much goddamn HP that boss have, so I have a DPS, so I can calculate my DPS, right? It can't be so difficult, just put the goddamn number there. Like, just put the number there. Like, it's not gonna hurt anyone. It's not gonna hurt the casual experience, not gonna hurt the whatever experience. It's just literally gonna make everybody happy. Well, if you keep Conjurations at 10, you have no problem. You probably just don't have the best attack speed. But 10 is a good number for Conjurations, so that's fine. You're doing nothing wrong. Yeah, I mean, but think about that, right? A DPS tracker for the training dummies requires them to actually do actual development, right? So they really have to program that shit. And just put the HP on the stupid boss, like literally, like an intern can do that, right? It can't be so difficult, right? The boss has an HP number and just write it there instead of the percentage bar or put it on top of it. Like, that's probably gonna take 10 minutes for a developer to do it, really. And, you know, you don't... Then, you know, the cream on the, like, the real... would be to put a setting in the menu and say, you know, display boss HP numbers. But that already requires development again, so screw that, right? No, you don't use Prodigy's aspect basically ever unless you're like level 50 and have no clue what you're doing. But Prodigy's aspect is like extremely terrible in high end. It's really just some... It's one of the worst early mana fixes. So if you want to use a resource aspect, if you can figure it out, use aspect of the Umbral. That is going to be significantly stronger. Prodigy's aspect really is not very good. Well, I have experience with AAA companies and I have been working in software development for 25 years. So I actually know what I'm talking about. And I know how these companies work. Like, I work with companies like this every day. And I know, like, in my development team, right, if I give them a job and I'm like, yeah, you know, that's probably going to take 15 minutes, they be like, yeah, but it's going to take like 1 day. I got to do the testing and I got to do like the merging and stuff like that and blah, 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 blah. And so, you know, in the end, it takes 2 days, right? But if I'm talking with like one of our like customers and I'll be like, yeah, can you just change that? Like for example, I had a case today, like where I have a customer, and we have an integration for them into like Salesforce, right? And we give them a number, which is like just an ID number, and the ID number is like 6 digits, and then there's like an add, and then there's 3 digits, right? And so they have the job in their Salesforce system to customize it, so it just cuts the last 4 digits of a number, okay? So the task is cut the last 4 digits of a number. Like, literally, that's like 6 characters of code or 1 line of code, however you want to call that, right? So that's their task. So how do you think how long it takes them to develop and deploy? It takes them 8 months to develop and deploy, cutting 4 digits of a number. So that's how big companies work. And that's why I say, if they have to place a button in the menu, it's gonna take them years. Because that is going to be a different team, which is gonna do, you know, whatever, right? So this is really the problem with, like, development in, like, large companies. Nobody understands why shit takes so long, but shit takes forever. And this is not, like... This is a common example. It happens really all the time. Like... because they have processes, so like these requests travel to departments. So the request gets into the very first department, right? Then the very first department values the request. They're gonna do at least 2 meetings with at least 10 people inside, which are completely useless. Nobody needs the meetings, but they're gonna do them anyway. Then they're gonna pass it over to like a scrum master or a product owner or somebody who's then gonna write a story. So that guy is then going to like Jira or Kanbanize or whatever like system they're using. And then the guy is gonna write a story. So he's gonna write a story and it says, please cut off last 4 digits of this number. So then that story goes in the process, right? That is usually like called an upstream process. So the upstream process now starts, right? So this story, which says, please cut the last 4 digits of this number, goes in the upstream process and reaches the first department. The first department has no clue what that actually means. So the first department starts 2 meetings trying to find people who know what it actually means to cut 4 digits of this random number. Right? So then this meeting happens and they basically push the story back to the original requester, and they say, please give more information on the story. Then the original requester tries to give more information on the story, but he cannot give more information on the story because he doesn't know the Salesforce environment. So that guy does a meeting with the Salesforce team and is trying to figure out how to modify the story so that the other department will understand it. And literally, like, it goes on and on and on and on. And literally, like, a 5-minute change goes through, like, so many iterations. And then it has to go into sprint planning. So they usually only have, like, 4 to 8 sprints. So they can only deploy stuff, like, 4 to 8 times a year. So literally, it is extremely retarded. But it... So... That is if you just want to add the hit points on the HP bar on a boss. That is how the process runs in Fortune 500 companies, right? If you go to like the developers of Last Epoch, right? So the boss says, hey developer XYZ, I want to have hit points on the boss HP bar. How long it's gonna take? Then the developer is gonna, it's probably gonna take around 15 minutes to implement it. And then, you know, we're gonna wait for like these 2 other guys to like finish the sprint and merge it. So it's probably gonna be in there with the next patch in like 2 weeks. And then they were like, then the boss is gonna be, all right, do you want me to write a story for that? And he's like, no, I actually just did the change while we were talking, and I already committed it because it's just like a 5-minute change, so I don't really give a shit. So that's like small companies versus large companies, right? And that is really like Fortune 500 software development is an absolute nightmare. It is really not, you know, you might think things are easy, and the problem is really the things itself are easy. It's just the process leading to the things actually getting done. That is the problem. It's not the actual work. And another interesting stat is, like, a lot of development companies, so how much, like, let's say you have a developer, right? So what would you think? How much time a week or a developer actually does developing, and how much time a week a developer actually spends with, like, you know, team meetings, refactoring, all that kind of stuff. So the larger your company gets, like in large companies, the developers develop 40% of the time. So that's like an accurate number. So 40% of their work, like 40% of their workday, they do an actual development, and the other 60% they just do like whatever, like meetings, refining of stories, other meetings, you know, team meetings, stand-ups, stuff like that. So that they do like a lot of stuff which is no development. And if you go to a small company, the developers do like 95% of their day. They do development. And that's just the curse of processes. Like, corporate processes are like the nightmare of our world, like, really. That's like too many people having like a master's degree in economics and shit, and they think they know like everything, and they're gonna like, you know, create all these processes, and all they're gonna do is like they basically just put like stand still on everything with their stuff. This boss is just like... Yeah, 90% team meeting. Like, it's not that extreme, but, you know, like 60% team meeting is like, it's like really like an actual number. Like, I have a team at my company, they have like... They have 40% team meeting and administrative work, and our company only has like 200 employees, so... And it's already starting like there to... You know, at some point you're just like at the point you would be like, if I had just 10 employees and one team, I would be faster than with these 200, because these 200 don't know what the fuck they're doing. How much do I have? I have 500. That's pretty good. Yep. Turrets does absolutely no damage at all. Welcome to the reality. It just looks cool. Am I still getting rings? Yeah. Alright, so what am I getting? Swords, Ice Blades, very good. Gonna keep these. Ooh. Just because it has 2 greater affixes. Oh, Inner Flames. What garbage stats. I'm still gonna keep this. By the way, did you see you can have like 2 passives on your amulets? Pretty cool actually. Like if you can get a like +2 Hoarfrost, +2 Devouring Blaze or something like that, you can get like a pretty sick amulet. Hoarfrost Inner Flames obviously makes no sense, but yeah, you shouldn't run Frozen Orb on level 60. Like really do yourself a favor. Switch to Blizzard. You can use the same gear. But don't run Frozen Orb on that low level. It's not gonna be fun. So let's go with the story of my Shako. So I tempered this about 15 times and I wasn't able to hit cooldown reduction in 15 attempts. It's like so ridiculous. Let's get some of these. And let's get some of these. Yeah, just start farming, like really. It's now, like, transitioning into an endgame build too early is just a mistake. It's basically not gonna help you. What is it? Reset, right? Wait, is it reset? Yeah. Let's go, cooldown reduction. Right. There's 2. Like this is the unluckiest Shako of all times. There's 3. Like I'm literally like 20 attempts in right now. There it is, finally. Right, let's go again. You can do it, Shako. So, I really don't know if I want to, like, try it. I think trying to get 2 times it's going to be, like, that's going to be too much of my fortune. I'm not gonna waste it all on that one. I'd rather keep upgrading my other items. Like this one here I have to upgrade. That is gonna really give me like a good boost here. And these ones I wanted to upgrade, but it's so expensive, damn. I'm not gonna upgrade these because I will replace them later with something else, so. Do I want to upgrade this? Probably also, right? This is not so good from the Frozen Orb roll, actually. So I probably want to hold on to that for a while. Yeah, I'm gonna save to fully upgrade this one. No, I play on Eternal Realm. That's why I have gold. You can temper 6 times. Ice Blades basically reset their own cooldown. The least favorite, Slither and Hive Master. So I think Hive Master is the one I dislike most, and then Slither. And then the third one, like the Sea Witch, because these 3 bosses have double the HP. Conjuration ranks. Well, Conjuration ranks is the most important. You have to crit it once. So it goes to +3 when you reach 8 out of 12. After that, the most important is by far cooldown reduction. The additive damages are worthless on the amulet, right? So you always want to... So if you really want to min-max, you gotta hit cooldown reduction and you gotta once hit the Conjuration Mastery ranks, because you want to get the Conjuration Mastery ranks to 3. Because that is going to be a significant advantage. I run Want and Focus now because I'm switching to a different build. And it's a little bit faster for farming. But I still recommend not playing Want and Focus unless you have a lot of time to farm. Because it really requires very good gear to be fully workable. But I wanna transition into Flame Shield build. And I already tested it and I was like 1.5 seconds short to reach permanent Flame Shield. And I just need a little bit, temper a little bit of cooldown, Masterwork a little bit more cooldown reduction. And then I need to check the attack speed breakpoints. And then I can get that done, but that is gonna require Want and Focus. Because I need the cooldown reduction from the focus. And if, like when farming, when the top end of the damage is not so important, you're definitely a little bit faster because the attack animations are shorter. And if you look at me, like I'm doing like this stutter step, right? So I always move, then cast one frozen orb, and then I move again. And the attack animation now being much faster, so it's gonna just get me through the dungeon faster while I'm farming here for the Masterworking materials. No, there's absolutely no point running X-Forts this season. That thing is dead. Why is one hand better on high tier? I'm just saying at the very min-maxed version. Again, I do not know if it's going to be better yet because I need to calculate the attack speed breakpoints. It really comes down to where the attack speed breakpoints are for Frozen Orb, if it's really gonna be better or not. But for the... nobody can confirm that Shredding Blades is busted, so at this point I cannot confirm or deny that, honestly. I have to test it, but I don't think it's true, actually. So, I just use Shako for Flame Shield. Because it obviously gives you +4 ranks of Flame Shield, which is very important. But I didn't use any other Uber Uniques. I use exactly the same setup I have right now. I just changed to... So I changed some stuff on the Paragon board. I have to go into Enchantment Master. I have to go Ice Blades enchant. And then I have to get a lot of cooldown reduction. And again, I don't know how much it's gonna need yet. But I assume... I mean, I have to test that out. How much it is actually needed. And you might need Tal Rasha ring as well for the cooldown reduction. But I really wanna... So that really comes down to the attack speed breakpoints. Prodigy versus boss is useless. Umbra versus bosses gives you infinite mana during stagger phases. But if you play Frozen Orb and if you play the mana regeneration passive on Frozen Orb, like I do in this build, you don't really need mana regeneration versus staggered bosses. So... But Umbra should still be better. I mean, Prodigy is not good at all. Honestly, you shouldn't fix your mana regeneration with aspects. There's better ways to fix it, like use the ice armor, mana regeneration, and get yourself the ice armor passive that it is basically infinite duration. Worst case, put Hydras on your bar, put 2 extra Hydras on the ground, that's gonna give you more mana regeneration. Like, there's many ways you can fix mana, but Prodigy's aspect is not a very good one. Rather really get plus mana regeneration stat on all your armor pieces, that's gonna help you way more. Well, so let me put it like this. If you are still solving mana rec, you don't have to worry about DPS. If you are getting to the state where you have to worry about DPS, you don't worry about mana regeneration anymore. So DPS, you really have to worry if you really want to push it to the limit. But if you're still struggling with mana, you're not there. I can already tell you. So if you're still fixing mana, fix your mana. Damage comes last. You're gonna have way more than enough. Again, I don't use Verse Mastery, but because I did not confirm yet that it's bugged. And before I do that, I'm not gonna use it. Look at that dodge, like a boss. Oh, that was wrong. That was so wrong. Okay. Flat percent damage is not a multiplier at all. No, I have a lot of changes right now compared to that planner. So right now I'm playing different enchantments. I play like a couple of different Paragon nodes, I think. I play a little bit different skill tree as well. So I don't play the Stagger story here anymore right now. I play Hydra with Burning, and I play Ice Blades enchant instead of Firebolt enchant, because I am farming lower tiers right now, it's pretty easy for me to get through the dungeons. So I really don't need the Firebolt enchantment. What is... I don't understand. What does Shako have to do with cooldown reduction? Like, every helm has cooldown reduction? I don't really understand that question. Well, Ice Blades enchant is good. That's right. I always was saying in the beginning as well. So I'm playing... Again, so the build guide I make is for 90% of the people. Right? What will play best for most. It is not for the absolute very high end, because, you know, I wasn't even at the very high end when I was doing that build guide. So this keeps evolving, and Ice Blades enchant gives you more boss damage, but it gives you less dungeon damage. So, for example, if you want to push like the very high tiers, the dungeon damage actually becomes an issue. Like, if you want to do it like a tier 95 or whatever, without the Firebolt enchant, like in the dungeon you're gonna take like twice as long to get to the bosses. So there's really like a lot of different situations you have to account for, and the build is more like a round build guide, which is like relatively low cost, relatively easy to play, and, you know, works from mana perspective, works from like a damage perspective, works good for like pushing, and also works good for farming. But you can always, like, if you want to do like different activities, you always change the build a little bit. For For example, you wouldn't go with this into Hell Tides, right? If you would go with this into Hell Tides, you would switch to Teleport and Fireball enchantment, for example. Because then you're gonna be way faster with teleporting. So you always adjust a little bit depending on what you're doing right now. Again, the trash mobs become more hard in the higher levels. The trash mobs are weak on the lower levels, but actually on the high end, the trash mobs become significantly stronger. So I don't know if you watch like some videos of like the tier 130 clears, and the only way they even kill the trash mobs is because they use Elixir of Holy Bolts. Because it's like doing way too much damage. Which I can't use, by the way, because I don't play Seasonal Realm. But they cannot even deal with the trash without the elixir. So it becomes rough. Like, even the trash becomes rough. Of course you can sell it with core skills on gloves. It's just gonna be like, you know, probably like 10% less damage than having the one extra rank. So it's not like, you know, it's not like it's gonna be unplayable. Hate that boss. Oh, I'm 79. What? Okay. Where's the shadow clone? There it is. I hate when that happens. The vision on this boss is like just so awful. Like this arena is like... Yeah, but, again, and I'm not gonna play Holy Bolts because that's not gonna be interesting for me. Like, I understand that it's existing. I mean, I cannot play it no matter what, but, you know, for me it's not a benchmark if you play, like an overpowered elixir. It's the same with like Gauntlet. Why did I hate Gauntlet so much? Because, you know what, you wouldn't do damage yourself, you would just do shrines and speed rush. So I don't really like that playstyle. It's for me the same with the Holy Bolt story, really. Go for 80. What? Basically, I stagger the bosses so quickly because I attack so quickly. I mean, they could definitely take some boss away, like boss HP away and give it to the trash. I think it's not gonna be a bad thing to balance that, but I don't think they're gonna touch it at all. I'm pretty sure it's gonna stay exactly like it is. I don't think they're gonna touch any of the balancing this season at all. It's just... you know, maybe they nerf the Holy Bolt elixir, but I don't think this scaling is gonna change at all. I'm planning on the update, but it's gonna take some time. I need like probably like 6 to 8 hours more of farming materials until I can build the new build. Because the new build is gonna be high-end, right? I'm not gonna update the build. The build guide is fine as it is. But I'm gonna make a new variant, which is gonna be for high-tier pushing. Oh, I hate these snakes. That's like such a nightmare. So I'm gonna make a variant for high-tier pushing, but that's gonna be really high-tier. So that's gonna be, you know, it's nothing you're gonna jump on if you're like a fresh 100. So it's gonna require a significant investment. The build guide itself I will not really upgrade, so there's really no changes I would do at this point. And all changes you can do while you're like, you know, all the options I explain actually in the build video, what options you have, like, you know, switching from the Stagger into like Elemental Dominance, and I explain the 3 enchantment possibilities in, so right, the style I'm playing right now with Hydra and Burning and Ice Blades enchant. I also explain like these things in the guide video. But I just not gonna duplicate that guide for like every version where I just, you know, literally like change one single skill. Ice armor does not count as a barrier, but ice armor generates a barrier. Flame shield does not count as a barrier, but it generates a barrier with the protection passive. So technically, if you have the protection passive and you have flame shield, you're always gonna have a barrier. Because you're like, you know, you're immortal at that point, right? So your barrier cannot be touched. But technically it does not count as a barrier, no. It generates a barrier. But you are pretty much always gonna play a protection passive anyway, right? You're welcome. Again, like, mana is... So, mana before has been extremely complicated. And this patch, mana is, like, so easy on Sorc because the mana per second stat on your gear pieces is just so strong. Ooh, that might have been too early. Ah, okay. No, not Enchanted Hydra. Enchanted Hydra is basically trash. So you basically never want to play Hydra enchantment. Because it only lasts 5 seconds. Which is just plain garbage. I have no clue why it is like this. But the Hydra enchantment is not being affected by anything. Like, it's just 5 seconds. Not even the Conjurer glyph or anything works on it. It's just 5 seconds. So, the Hydra... You just get the Hydra for free. So the Winterglass is just gonna cast the Hydra, and the Hydra is gonna do the burning on the boss, right? So, and that's why I play Iceblade enchantment right now, and the third node you mean, right? So this one, Summoned Hydra. So Summoned Hydra is basically gonna fix burning for bosses, with what I'm playing right now. And again, you have like a bit less damage throughout the dungeon, but you have the same damage basically. No, the first one is just gonna give it an extra head. I don't even know, like a random damage aspect. I think I play Conceited right now. Like really, you can play any damage aspect. Like basically you have Control, Swell, Conceited, and well, usually you have Shredding Blades, but you know, since so many people are going on my nuts telling me that it's bugged, I'm not playing it at this point. I want to test it this week if it's really bugged or not. And then I'm probably going to play it again, because I'm pretty sure it's not bugged actually. But people have been freaking me out for so long that I actually, like, you know, stopped playing it. And it's freaking annoying. But, I mean, you can exchange all these aspects. Like, literally all damage aspect for Sorc are pretty much doing the same. Yes, I'm running Flame Feeder because the Hydra does burning for me. So, I didn't swap it. I just don't have burning in this dungeon, like in this dungeon phase here. But as you can see, I don't need it. I'm doing, like, way more than enough damage. Stupid vampires. I'm not using Snap, Freeze, or Icy Veil at this point. In this current build I'm playing, not. No. I also feel like there is like a maximum on Stagger. Because, you know, I tried a different build and I basically maxed out Frost. So I wanted to try... Basically, I did it earlier today. I wanted to try what the absolute maximum is on Stagger. So I crafted Frost Cage on like some defensive pieces, and they all had like a +3 Frost Cage. And is it called Frost Cage is gonna, what is it called? Icy Veil, I think, or Icy Touch, I don't even remember. So Glyph Winter doesn't work on bosses. At least I think it doesn't work on bosses. I still have to verify that as well. But at least from the wording, it doesn't work on bosses. So that's why I'm not using it, because the most important is boss damage in this pit. Otherwise, for non-bosses, Winter is like very, very good, right? But since you're not gonna chill or freeze the boss, I mean, at least I think it is not working. But again, that's also something I still have to test. If the boss is staggered and if you hit it, or if it's not staggered, if it still counts as freezing the boss, I'm not 100% sure actually. So it's definitely something I want to test. And if that's positive, I will definitely switch this to use Winter, because it's a stronger multiplier. But I'm not entirely sure at this point again. Yeah, the build guide link is in the description of this stream. Obviously. Yes, staggered bosses are considered everything, but yes, they are. But Winter doesn't say that, right? If you read Winter, so Winter says whenever you chill or freeze an enemy, you deal 4% increased cold damage for 10 seconds, right? So are you chilling or freezing the boss? And if it gets staggered, are you chilling or freezing it just once? Would you get 4%? Are you not chilling or freezing it at all? What happens if you chill a boss, but a boss cannot be chilled? Does it actually count as getting chilled, but not becoming chilled? So from the wording, just from the wording, I would say Winter doesn't work on bosses. But again, I have to test that, because I think Winter gives. Well, I actually can check right. Let's check right now. If Winter gives a buff icon, I could check it on a dummy. I could click this. Apparently I can't. Oh, I have to click here. Again, that's the thing. You have to test everything, because the game doesn't really tell you. So, I have no skill in Flame Shield. So there's a video linked on this stream, which says FAQ 5 questions answered. Just go and it will tell you how I do that. It's like special tactics. So I just want to check if the Winter has a buff icon. This is like, by the way, like this is a very old Eternal tune, so I only have like a level 1. But it needs dexterity, right? So I can put it in the first board. And I need... Wait, where can I get one more point from? Can I get one more point, please? Right, let's see. So let's see if I get a buff for Winter. Let's do some elite training dummies, multiple. Attack speed, cold damage increased by chilling an enemy. So Winter has a buff icon. So what I can do now is, right, I just go to boss training dummy. And now we would say when... What, I want to have a single one. And let's see. So as you can see, no Winter, right? So now let's wait until it is actually staggered. No Winter. So as I suspected, Winter doesn't work on bosses. Right? It's unfortunate that Sorceress Paragon glyphs are so messed up, but that is unfortunately the true story. What did I have in here? Flame Feeder, right? Yeah. No, not Flame Feeder. Wait, Frostbite? Flame Feeder. Where's Frame? Okay, and now, wait. What did I... How did I get my... This one and this one. What affixes do you want on stuff? Ideally. Again, the guide still has life on it, but if you like really want to go glass cannon, you just want to have 2 damage stats. So you want to have vulnerable damage and another one. I don't think Blizzard plus Perma Flame Shield is gonna work. It's not gonna work. Trust me. Like, you're not gonna hit it. You can try, but it's not gonna work. I can already guarantee you. Again, I'm approaching it with this build right now. And I'm very, very close to permanent flame shield, but you know, you get like 10 more, you get like significantly more ice blades. So ice blades is what is gonna give you the permanent flame shield, right? So, and in a Blizzard build, you're not gonna get enough ice blades to achieve that. You can get it down to like, you know, you will probably end up in a Blizzard build with like 2 to 3 seconds between your flame shields. Which is, I get, you know, that is still good. Like, you can still work around that, but you're not gonna go permanent. Not gonna work. The skill cooldown is just ice blades, really. If you have problems with mana, check the description of this video. There's FAQ video for ice blades, for frozen orb. And the very first section is how to solve your mana. It's like gonna be a 15-minute monologue from me telling you how to solve your mana from the very beginning till the very end. And if you watch that video, I guarantee you after the video, you're gonna have your mana solved. And you're also gonna understand how it works. So you can really do it at like level 50. You can start fixing your mana at like level 50 with those methods, no problem. Right. Have you tried Ball Lightning? No. If I will try Ball Lightning, that's probably gonna be late in the season. Because I want to max out this build with the permanent flame shield. And then I probably... I mean, I might try it. But, not sure. I might test it and see if there's like potential. Because the extra Ball Lightning casting is pretty promising. My biggest problem with Ball Lightning is the crackling energy limit. So if there wouldn't be a crackling energy limit, I think like Ball Lightning with like Asadora's Amulet could be a freaking awesome build. Unfortunately, there's the crackling energy limit, and that is completely gonna destroy that. Because, you know, getting Ball Lightning with the extra Ball Lightning cast attribute on your weapons, you're gonna spawn so many Ball Lightnings, and those are gonna like spawn a ridiculous amount of crackling energy. But unfortunately, there cannot be more than like, I think it's 40 crackling energy on the ground at the same time. And that basically makes all the crackling energy despawn before you can collect it. And that's basically destroying all lightning builds, in my opinion, that you cannot use crackling energy properly. Like, even if you would, also in a perfect world, right? If they would increase the pickup radius on crackling energy, so it would be like the same then, you know, picking up cinders in Helltide, then it could also work, because like in my dream, it would be like you would play Lightning Spear enchantment with massive crackling energy, and then stack up massive Conjuration mastery stacks. So, but again, they have to fix crackling energy, and I don't think they have any intention of touching that. Probably like a performance issue or something like that, something ridiculous. Yeah, the 20% Conjuration duration, there's also... I haven't tested yet if it actually works on the Winterglass Conjuration, but even if it does not work on the Winterglass Conjurations, at least the style I'm playing right now, I cast so many Ice Blades, And it really gives you a lot of extra damage that those Ice Blades last longer. Because the Ice Blades are also going to trigger all the cooldown reduction. And it really makes a lot of... like, it makes a big difference to actually play that glyph. And in the very end, there's not going to be another multiplicative glyph. So the only other multiplicative glyph which is left is Charged. Right, so Charged is the last glyph which you can play, which would give you a multiplicative damage increase. Or, well, there's one which gives you like 6.7%, like the one which gives, if you use like 50 mana or something like that. I don't even remember how it's called. But besides that, the only glyph would be Charged. And you could play Charged, I guess, with, you know, skilling into that lucky hit, crackling energy generator. Would have to see if Teleport and Lightning Spear will generate like 1 crackling energy every 4 seconds to keep the stacks up. But then Charge would be the only alternative which is even there. And so, which would be cool if it would actually be usable, but I feel like Conjurer is still going to be stronger. And you cannot place another board since you have to use Frigid Breeze and Icefall. So you cannot use 7 glyphs. You can only use 6. Or is it 8? I don't even know the number right now. Forgot the tree? You forgot the tree? What tree? This tree here? What tree are you talking about? I found like so many times. Oh, this is the first good one I actually get. This is actually good because I might have to play this. 6.2 is not amazing, but it's okay. The cursor, you can go to like accessibility options. So if you go to options and you go to accessibility, here you can change the cursor color. Where is it? Wait, it is somewhere here. It's a little bit hidden. This one here. So you have to activate high contrast cursor, and here you can make the cursor larger, and here you can pick the color for the cursor. So that's pretty convenient setting. Because literally, like, if you use the default cursor, you're not gonna see it at all. Like, it's hidden, basically. How to check if your attack speed reached breakpoint? Well, it's a pretty tedious method. So you have to basically... So there's the 1.3% attack speed nodes on your Paragon board, right? I think there's like 6 of them or 5. So then you basically have to equip an item, and then you start iterating with the 1.3 attack speed nodes. Then you have to go to the training dummy, and you have to record the video with, like, you know, you have to get OBS and record the video with 60 frames per second. Then you're gonna use a VLC, like Video LAN Client. And then you're gonna replay the video frame by frame. And then you're gonna count the frames from one frozen orb until the next frozen orb comes out. And then you're gonna count the frames, right? So that's how you find attack speed breakpoints in this game. The game is not gonna tell you. So it takes a while. Like, it doesn't take forever, but it takes a while. And when I'm at the very end of optimizing this build, I will calculate the attack speed breakpoints. Because on the very high end, it's gonna matter. If you're still in the lower ends, Usually it doesn't matter so much. So the attack speed breakpoints, there's like a lot of attack speed breakpoints while you're in the lower attack speed, right? If you're like at, you know, between 70 and 120% or so, there's like probably like 5 or 6 breakpoints in between. But if you like start getting above 120%, there's only like 2 breakpoints left. So there's just one breakpoint like every, you know, 20 attack speed or so. So it matters like at the very end. In the early stage, you can just say more attack speed is good. So really, if you're starting to reach the end of your attack speed, the highest attack speed, it starts to matter. But in general, if you can afford it, get 100%. It's most likely going to be beneficial. You might be wasting like 5% or something like here or there, but still. But I'm gonna calculate these breakpoints once, because when I will make the final version of this build, the Immortal one, I will do the breakpoints. I guess I'm doing pretty good on 80 right now. Yeah, but he did it on... I think he did it on a rogue, right? So I saw like the attack speed frames on a rogue. But so every single skill and every single class is gonna have different breakpoints, and the breakpoints are also gonna be different on two-handed weapon and wand and focus. So it's not just one breakpoint. You literally have to calculate the breakpoints for every single combination. Can I upgrade this? Where I'm going. All right. Can I masterwork? 250, let's go. All right, so if we're gonna hit the frozen orb, I'm gonna freak out, okay? Unfortunately, it's the goddamn min roll, right? Well, it's not the min roll, like it's a middle roll, but just imagine it would be like the high roll. Because this one is the true min roll here, but I also hit it twice, like it's ridiculous actually. What am I upgrading? Do I want to upgrade my Shako? Probably Shako is gonna be next. I don't even know. No, I might reset Shako. I'm gonna save. But it's actually not so good. I mean, it could be higher. Yeah, for the very high end, it's gonna be better. But again, it's gonna depend on the breakpoint I haven't figured out yet. It really depends where the attack speed breakpoints are. But I assume it really depends a little bit. So if the breakpoint is below 150, so that if there's a breakpoint below 150, because the highest breakpoint is going to be above 150% attack speed, so you're not going to be able to reach the highest breakpoint. Like, there's absolutely no way, right? But if there's a breakpoint at around 150 attack speed, then Wand and Focus is going to be pretty extremely good. But if there's not a breakpoint, so let's say the breakpoint is at, you know, Well, actually 150 is too much. So if the breakpoint is at 150, it's already too high because I cannot reach 150. I think I can technically reach like 137 or something like that, somewhere around that area. So if there's a breakpoint reachable within that range, then it's gonna be very strong, cooldown reduction wise, with the ice blades. Because I'm essentially playing at a very high breakpoint right now, right? So I don't know how much I'm at like 125-ish or something like that. And if I could reach another breakpoint for attack speed, that would be extremely huge. But if I can't reach another attack speed, like breakpoint for attack speed, then I have to actually see how to change my gear. No, the maximum you can get in this build is exactly 150. Because you can only have 100 plus 50 from accelerating, plus 20 from accelerating aspect, plus 20 from unstable currents. So 150 is the maximum you can reach on this build. Or if you play a two-handed weapon, you can technically reach 175. But I don't think that's going to be beneficial. Because wasting the attack speed aspect on the two-handed weapon actually doesn't make any sense. Because you might just play Wand and Focus, which has a higher base attack speed. And you don't have to invest, like, you know, your double aspect for, like, an attack speed roll. And also, at 175%, there's probably... I mean, there might be a breakpoint at 161. Just like with the Fireball, but I don't think so. So it really comes down to where the breakpoints are. Because if you want to play permanent Flame Shield, you're gonna need Tal Rasha Ring, most likely. Or you have godly cooldown reduction rolls. Which I don't have. But that is a possibility. Wait, what's happening here? Right. So that's a possibility. And if you play Tal Rasha Ring, like, you cannot get the 150%. You can probably get like somewhere to like 125. Or you have to completely remove the attack speed and play Asus Ferocity. And then you will be able to reach the 150% attack speed. So if there's a breakpoint then close to 150, it might be worth it again. So I mean, you understand, it's a little bit more complicated than just saying I want to have 100% attack speed. So Tactician is better. Tactician is a good glyph. It gives 10% damage, right? Yeah, but you cannot get more than 100% attack speed, no matter how much attack speed you crit, right? 100% is the max. So you have this attack speed here, right? Minus at 68.1, without the elixir actually. So minus at 83.1. So this can only go up to 100. You cannot get above 100. So with accelerating aspect and unstable currents, the maximum is gonna be 150%. So if it happens that the breakpoint is at 151%, right, you're gonna waste a lot of attack speed. If the breakpoint is at 147%, it's gonna be very good. But at that stage, if you really have like greater FX attack speed on every gear piece, and you really want to try to break into this last attack speed breakpoint, you gotta know this breakpoint first. It's not gonna make sense brain deadly, like, you know, crafting attack speed on everything without knowing the highest breakpoint there. And that's something I have to find out first, before I can adjust my rings, basically, right? So if you want to reach permanent Flame Shield, then, you know, there might be the requirement to switch to Asus Ferocity. Which is gonna be a damage loss, but on the other hand, you get another... you get the Tal Rasha Ring, which gives the cooldown reduction, if it's required. Maybe it's not required. Because there's also Ice Blade's cooldown reduction, which, by the way, is in the planner. So, let's say the... You temper double Ice Blade cooldown reduction on your rings. then you probably don't need Tal Rasha Ring and you can keep the attack speed. And if you then can reach a breakpoint, and Ice Blades are essentially what's gonna give you permanent Flame Shield, right? Each Ice Blade is gonna reduce your Flame Shield cooldown. And if you get the Ice Blades cooldown low as possible with those rings, you might be able to keep the attack speed on the rings. And then you might be able to get this breakpoint, if you know where it is. You can use Starless, guys, if you like having mana issues, but it's not going to be the optimal choice because you need the attack speed. So if you're like not super min-maxing, you can definitely use it, but it's not going to be the perfect choice. Yeah, I know. But the elixir is just hit points and it's very expensive. So I'm not using it because actually I don't care about hit points. And it costs like 35 Angel Brass, which is literally 7 enchantment attempts. And Angel Brass is gonna be, you know, I don't want to waste those for like 15% attack speed, 15% hit points elixirs, really, because I'm gonna run out of those at some point. But yeah, you can use the double elixir. Oh. Sparking. This is like the lightning guys are like horrible, horrible. Yeah, yeah. The experience is gonna be very important, you're right. Forgot about that. Look at this guy melting at tier 82. Again, this build is pretty similar. I really just switched to Wand and Focus. Other than that, again, I also say it in the build guide. I just removed Firebolt enchantment and instead I'm getting Ice Blades enchantment. And I put Hydra into Burning, so I have Burning for bosses. That's pretty much all the changes I did. I only have 6 rune shards left. Yeah, you're not gonna make Meteor good. Like, no brain is gonna help you with that. I don't think accelerating aspect on 2-hand makes any sense, because you just might just play Wand and Focus. Because you're gonna have a higher attack speed with Wand and Focus. And using the accelerating aspect on the 2-hand is just like such a huge investment for a relatively little gain, honestly. I have so much money because I don't play on the seasonal realm. The cold damage temper, so you need one, or maybe it depends a little bit on your Paragon board, but you need at least one, depends on the high roll, cold damage temper, because you need to max out your Frigid Breeze glyphs, right? So your Frigid Breeze glyph is not going to be maxed by default, and by getting one cold damage temper, you're going to max that out. Hey, by the way, also say that in the guide. So there's really like some little things you have to like, for example, if you forget to temper one cold damage, you're gonna lose 15% of your damage, basically. Or like 10%, it depends on the how big the cold damage roll actually is. But you need one cold damage roll for that. Well, the attacks... Well, did you play the Asus Ferocity version or the non-Asus Ferocity version? And did you use the attack speed elixir? I think I still need like one... I have gloves with greater. So I could retemper the gloves to get more attack speed, I guess, also. I really have to try... I really have to figure out those breakpoints first before I make like any more tempering now. Because I might just wait my resources for the wrong updates. This has like a lot of HP actually. I'm like kind of trouble here. Ah no, it's good now. I think I wasn't close again. So if you don't play Asus, again, that's gonna require you to have very good attack speed on your gear, right? So you have 10% attack speed on your Paragon board, and you really gotta have double ring and gloves with good attack speed rolls, right? So, I mean, I have this one here, which has 21%. I have this one with 18.9%. I have this one with 19.4%, right? So I really have high attack speed rolls. And, you know, you might be just... Winter doesn't work at Stagger. I just tested it, by the way. Winter does not trigger on bosses at all. Period. Winter is not about having a debuff. Winter is about applying a debuff. Read the Winter glyph properly. So... You can also go to the training dummy, put a boss. Winter has a buff icon, you can check it. So for Winter, you have to freeze or chill an enemy. And you're not freezing or chilling the boss. Yes, the boss is frozen and chilled when he's staggered, but you are not applying freeze or chill to the boss. So Winter doesn't work on bosses, trust me. I literally just tested it half an hour ago on the training dummy. Yeah, except for, like, I have one ring, which is much better. But I crafted a max roll ice spike damage on it, so it's the perfect, blizzard ring. I literally tested it on the training dummy, like, half an hour ago. Literally. So whatever you're saying, you're full of shit, I'm sorry. Period. End of this discussion. Thank you very much. What you're saying is just wrong. Yeah, you kill the boss in one stagger. Dream on, bro. Dream on. If you're killing the boss in one stagger, you're like... farming 30 tiers too low. So... Also, does it look like you need extra damage in this dungeon phase? Not really, right? The only thing which is gonna live more than like 1 second is those fortified guys, because you have to move yourself to like the armor guy. And then there's like some of these which are unstoppable. Obviously, like these lightning guys tend to get unstoppable very fast. And if they're unstoppable, obviously they're gonna take a while, so you're gonna kill them while they're frozen. So if you let them get unstoppable, you know, best is you just skip them, but like honestly, this dungeon phase, if you're farming, it literally doesn't matter. Like as you say, I'm not even playing Firebolt enchantment, so I'm literally missing like 50% damage on all these mobs. So, and it doesn't really matter at all. It's really just about the boss damage. And you want to play... Okay, this is actually an issue because this is the double HP boss. So let's see how good I can do this on this tier 82. Oh, it's alright, I guess. I can deal with her. Oh, that might have been too early. Nah, it's fine. It's close, but good enough. I hope, at least. Oh, I don't know what that is. Oh, that guy. Wait, there's... Oh, another one? Can the girl die? Jesus. These double HP bosses are like no joke. Yeah, literally, like, damage numbers are, like, just too much. Yeah, the teleport is not skilled. Look at the video description. There's, like, a video which is called Frozen Orb FAQ or something like that, and I'm gonna explain why the teleport is not skilled and still working. If you can't figure it out, watch that video. So, I have this godlike ring, right? Where is it? Ice Spike... This one? So I have this ring here, right? Which is... This is like very, very good. The problem is I tempered Ice Spike damage on it, right? Which is a very good roll. So I'm keeping this for now. Oh no, but no, that is not the ring. Wait, I have a better one. Where is it? Where is the ring? The one ring. Is it not on this tune? Or maybe it's on another tune. Well, basically, I have a very strong greater FX attack speed ring, another one, but I don't want to temper it for now because I have a ice spike damage on that, which is perfect for a blizzard build, and I don't want to keep tempering it because I have this ring which has this 33.8% damage, which is like a totally dead stat. I probably want to even temper 2 rings with Ice Blades cooldown, but I just didn't get the time to test it yet because I don't have proper rings. But I still assume it's gonna be the best. The optimal crit chance as much as possible. For every build, you want to have the maximum possible crit, right? So I have 66.5 crit. And again, I'm missing 1 crit roll on this ring here. So I would have close to like 80%. And you can never have enough, like, you can never have too much crit. Obviously, if you have more than 100, but, you know, basically, you can never have enough crit. You want to see my wand in focus? Like, my wand is dog shit. But I just had that in my chest. So I definitely need a better one. This one's crap. But this focus is pretty good. This is like the holy grail focus, basically. No, Asus is not bugged, but Asus still gives you attack speed with Ancient Flame. So Asus Ferocity is still a great way to get attack speed. Wait, I have to kill that boss. Well, if you're at the training dummy using Asus boots and you don't see much of a difference, then press evade. Okay, Asus boots, you have to press evade. If you play Asus, I mean, unless you have more than like 10 conjurations up, obviously, you're already gonna be at 100% movement speed. But generally, press your spacebar, or whatever hotkey you use for evade. And then you're gonna see the difference. So Asus gives you 30% crit. It's a massive difference. No, gloves is attack speed, frozen orb, ranks, crit. Right, this one here. I have intelligence. Again, I don't have good gloves, but I just used the one which have the greater affix, but crit is gonna be better than intelligence. I also have +3, right? Yeah, so this is also like a min roll. I have to re-enchant that. But I don't want to risk like all my materials doing so. There's like, in the build guide, there's a build guide for the helm without Shako. So, and if you struggle with mana, put like mana per second on your helmet. It's my best advice I can give you. I hate that I have to play Nightmare Dungeons. You know, I need to take some time and farm some Hell Tides to get like my rune shards up. Because if you run out of rune shards, it's like so depressing. And now I have to play like 2 Nightmare Dungeons so I can go on. But I can, oh, no obols. I can push my Winterglyph. Where's that? Alright, I'm gonna do one more Nightmare Dungeon. But I'm gonna gamble first real quick here. No, it is not true. Asus is... Only the damage part of Asus is supposed to work with fire skills. There's absolutely no bug. Just read Asus carefully. Read the skill carefully, okay? So, what does it say? If you Asus Ferocity, your fire critical strike damage is increased by 25% against enemy above 50 life. Your fire critical strike chance is increased by blah blah blah. Okay, that is the damage part. And then look at the second one. Critical strike that kill enemies or hit a boss grant both bonuses against all enemies. Okay, that is the important part. So you get both bonuses. Okay, they only count for fire damage, but the aspect of Ancient Flame doesn't require that, right? If you search for Ancient Flame. Okay, so the aspect of Ancient Flame just says, while both bonuses from the Asus Ferocity key passive are active, your attack speed is increased by 50%. Alright, so you don't need to do the extra damage, you can still take the 50% attack speed. That's the point. Gamble boy. More rings. Every attack speed counts for the attack speed cap. Well, no. So, if you're referring to... if you're playing Sorceress in this build, it is the accelerating aspect and the unstable currents attack speed. Look at this, greater FX permafrost. What is this? Anything good here? Nope. This one? Nope. Wait, is this the good one? Oh my god, I almost salvaged. That was damn close. That was so close. What is this? Is anybody ever using this? Probably not, right?
Hello,
30% of the speed boost is 30%. Because your speed boost is gonna be 100%. Okay? Pretty easy. Look at Asus. Look at, now it says current bonus 5.8%, right? Now, let me press spacebar. You see? Evade grants 125% movement speed. You see that? On the very top, below 462 armor. So let me press evade. See that? Current bonus 28%. Right? So, and if you have 10 conjurations, right? You see Conjuration Mastery. 6% movement speed per conjuration. So, well, technically you need to have 12 conjurations to reach the 100%. But so, in general, you always calculate 100% with Asus boots, in this, at least in this build, but also in other builds. Like generally, if you masterwork this all the way up, so it lasts for 5 seconds, I believe. So you just gotta press evade once every 5 seconds, and you gotta be at 30% crit chance from Asus. So the attacks per second, which is written in your character sheet, doesn't incorporate the attack speed frames. But, you know, if you feel like you're attacking faster, that's usually correct, right? But the attacks per second are always going to change. That has nothing to do with the frame cap, right? Yeah, I have no clue how to do that, honestly. The bots are not from YouTube, like you need to use external software. Like Streamlabs or stuff like that, then you can add like the YouTube bots. But you know, it is like it is, right? So again, let me repeat. So unstable currents and accelerating aspect do not count for the regular attack speed cap. So basically, if you play Wand and Focus, like the maximum attack speed you can reach on this build is 150%. If you have accelerating aspect and unstable currents. But again, I don't know the breakpoint. So if there's a breakpoint at 151%, I'm gonna be very sad. No, Asus Ferocity does not. I just said, basically, the only two which count is accelerating aspect and unstable currents. On top of basic skill attack speed. So basic skill attack speed and pyromancy attack speed also, and fireball attack speed from the whatever gloves. So those three also count for the other bucket. But in this build, basically, it's just accelerating aspect and unstable currents. Asus Ferocity basically stops at 100%. That's why it's generally good if you don't have high attack speed rolls, right? So you really need greater FX attack speed rolls on your gear, which are not easy to get. And if you don't have them, you can basically just use Asus Ferocity, take you easy 50%, and you're gonna be very happy. And, you know, yes, you're gonna do a little bit less damage, but as I say, damage is not gonna be your primary problem at that state of the game normally. Because you don't want to be pushing very high if you don't have very high gear. I mean, you can do it, obviously, but, you know, I feel like it's a little bit pointless. Okay, now I got new rune shots. Leveling Sorg. Firewall. Until you're like level 70 or something like that. And then you can go for Blizzard. Alrighty. What is this? Junk. Where am I? There. I'm not upgrading any stuff right now. I don't want to upgrade any items which are not perfect enough at this point. You can right-click the glyphs in the menu to quickly assign the point. Really? Like all points, or do I still have to click it 18 times? Wait, so on the PTR I got 35 stacks of Conjuration Mastery. The highest I saw was 35 stacks. So that it was actually ridiculous. No, I'm not switching to Blizzard anytime soon. What I will do Immortal Frozen Orb Sorceress. It's gonna be glorious. I'm gonna easily push tier 100 if it works. If it works. If it doesn't work, I immediately take back this statement. But if it works, I will. Ah. Again, it's so confusing, right? The only difficult ones are these lightning guys. Like they also like kill like all the hardcore players while like pit running. Like they have no problem with the bosses, but they just die like from these lightning guys. They are like completely out of control. What build could act well? Every build works with that amulet, but you're just not gonna do any damage and you're gonna be stuck at like pit level 30 or something like that. You really just any mana spending build works with that. Blizzard, for example, if you want to do Blizzard, you know, if you want to build like the Giga Tank, you can go Blizzard with Selic and Darius, Visage, and Temerity or something like that. Like, and you know what? You're still gonna get a one shot. Well, you actually might not get one shot because you're not gonna be able to push to the bosses which are so high that they one-shot you, because you're just gonna be so damn slow because you're not gonna do any damage. Yeah, the Tyrael is gonna like, it's gonna kill everything, right? I recommend putting Topaz because you know what? Your glass cannon, just live with it. There's no point playing rubies. Look, I play 16k hit points. So I really don't care at this point at all. And, you know, really, I sometimes die. It is what it is. But, you know, I'm still, like, significantly faster. Obviously, I'm not playing hardcore. Oh, I hate this boss. Damn it, I prematurely popped Flame Shield there. Alright. What was that? So, the high damage comes from the ice blades, right? So, it's like really, it matters actually. Oh my god, it's like the invisible sandstorm guy. I want to deal with him. No! Ah! It's so annoying. The state of every kind of defensive layer on Sorc is just sad. Because none of them matters whatsoever. Oh, this time is better. I'm actually standing close. So it's like really important to stand close. Like, I mess it up all the time. What the hell just hit me there? Wait, what? I thought I was dead. Again, attack power doesn't mean anything. Also, my attack power is 27k, right? So, if you equip a 200 stuff, your attack power just randomly doubles. So it really doesn't mean anything. Just ignore it. No, overpower damage does not do anything at all. I don't know what Wolf's rewards are, but I don't think it does. Oh yeah, that's like the seasonal questline thing, right? I don't think it does matter at all. But, you know, I don't play season, so I don't know. Again, attack power is irrelevant, and crit damage is bad for you, okay? Crit damage is bad. The worst damage you can get. No, I don't have a breakdown, but it's pretty easy. Frozen Orb is better for speed farming. Blizzard will push a little bit higher. And Blizzard is way easier to make. Like, less gear requirements. Blizzard is more like a good starter build. Frozen Orb requires heavy gear investment, basically. So, Blizzard in general plays way, way easier. Frozen Orb is more like hardcore playing. And hardcore, I don't mean by hardcore, I mean by, you know, you gotta invest a lot of time into your gear and stuff like that to get it really going. And Blizzard is always gonna be satisfying because, you know what, the build plays easy as hell. It always works, does great damage. So it's definitely the more satisfying build on the lower ends. Yeah, crit chance on gloves, I would say over intelligence. In general. I think so, at least. A little bit hard to tell. I mean, I think in the end it's probably somewhere around the same. So... I can do Lilith again. I'm pretty sure I'm strong enough to kill it right now. With like the new focus I have is like pretty good, so I think I can kill her without having to play the last platform, because I can't do that. So it should be possible. Yeah, rerolling is like terrible RNG. Like, I got some good luck shots today. Yeah, but nobody cares about max resistances, actually. Like, if you get hit, no matter if you have max resistance or not, you're just gonna be dead anyway. So it's really not so important. Like, if you're missing like 10% resistance, you can also always put like an extra diamond in your gear. It's usually not a big deal. So, I know they all say you have to max out your resistances and it's like super important. But in the end, you know what? You're gonna be one-shot no matter what. At least if you're like getting like into the higher tiers like a little bit. Like, the resistances are not gonna help you. Like, if you eat the shadow bolts, for example, from this guy, you're just gonna be dead no matter how much resistance you have. This guy has like a lot of HP. Ah! God damn it. I had like 2.4k int, I think. Oh, I didn't see. Oh, it's like so annoying. They look exactly the same, like the, and it spawns like right inside the boss. Okay, that was a mistake. Oh my, yeah. So if you mess up like one flame shield timing with these bosses, you're like instantly gonna die. It's like very, very, you have to be like very, very disciplined. But this boss has also like more HP. Oh god, that. Oh. 83 is too much for this boss. Okay, this time I have unstable currents. This is gonna be it. Why did he spawn the second clone so early? That's not a good sign. Ah, I really cannot deal with this boss. Because it has like it throws like the shadow balls and they do like insane damage and you have to dodge them. And it like completely throws up your timing. So one more try. Gotta wait for unstable currents here. Also, I still feel like randomly sometimes bosses have more HP than in the regular way. I don't know if that's true, but it's just like a feeling I have. Shit. That's a problem. This boss just sometimes forces you to use your flame shield like outside of the shadow clones. And if that happens, you have to move away basically when he's staggered and then you're like not gonna beat him. It's like really, really terrible boss. Anyway, let's move on. I'm just gonna go back to like 82. You cannot play this build without the amulet. Like, it is absolutely not possible. The amulet is the whole enabler for this build. You cannot get 100% crit chance in this build. The only builds which can reach 100% crit chance is Blizzard, because Ice Spike get 20%, or Fire builds. This build cannot reach 100% crit. I mean, technically, if you have all greater affixes crit and hit them once, like every single one, you can probably get close to 100. But that's gonna be like a huge investment. But this build usually would sit at like somewhere between 50 and 70%. Again, it can go if you have all greater affixes crit. Maybe it can. I didn't calculate it. And also you need to masterwork them to 12 out of 12, so... Yeah, at 80, that's not 100, right? It's pretty far away from 100. But again, like, the difference between 80 and 100% crit is not so huge. So, I wouldn't sweat it. The good thing, obviously, is if you reach 100% crit, right, you can spec into crit damage. Which is one of the stronger additive damages, obviously. But you really gotta have 100% crit. Like, even if you have 80% crit, speccing into crit damage is probably worse than speccing into vulnerable. No, I didn't try Ball Lightning this season yet. I might do it at a later point. But it's just so expensive to feed the builds with the Masterworking, so it's really impossible to play multiple builds at this stage. I mean, unless you are like a full-time streamer playing 24 hours a day. Like, this is one of the easiest bosses, really. Well, the gold is not the issue, right? It's these materials. Like, I have no problem with the gold. Yeah, you can kill tormented bosses with this build. How do you have 2 min-max characters? Like, you have no life? You have a job? What's wrong with you, dude? All you need is 9,350 armor. Just spec into Blizzard, then you're gonna do your tormented boss easy. The highest I did was 89. Yeah, 89 is the highest I pushed. I could do higher now, but I still... Again, I want to build my Flame Shield version of this before I continue pushing. Because pushing is just like a time investment, and I still have lots of gear upgrades to do. And I feel like it's, for me, it's not very smart to push until I have my gear properly upgraded. So I did it before, I did 89. I could probably go a little bit higher if I get a good boss. But I want to figure out the build first, which is what I'm doing now. So I'm basically just farming the resources so I can get my gear with the new build to 12 out of 12, because the new build is gonna require 12 out of 12, because I need basically every single bit of cooldown reduction I can get. And then I'm gonna make a real endgame guide. Like endgame, like, you know, tier 100, maybe 110, I don't know yet how the scaling is. I'm just speculating. But I'm assuming the flame shield is gonna work, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. Lift 21 is pretty significant, yes. You should get it. Well, I don't need damage if I can have a boss fight last 8 minutes and I can just nuke. Because if I can just face tank the boss with permanent flame shield, you know, I'm gonna do like 100 times more damage than if I only have 3 stagger phases, and after that I'm basically dying. Right? So, and it's also gonna give you more damage because you can really remove the last bit of maximum life on your gear. Like, you can literally remove every single defensive layer. So it's gonna give you a little bit more damage in the end. But on top of it, it basically gives you free burning, right? So you don't need to spec into Hydra burning, because if you have permanent flame shield, everything is always going to be burning, which is another advantage. But yeah, the most thing is like just uptime, right? You can just nuke, permanently nuke, so... I'm standing in the shit. Like, if you see, I have like 11 minutes left, right? So imagine this would be like a level 120 boss or so, and I had permanent flame shield. I could literally just, you know, nuke this guy for like 10 minutes straight. Right? That is like such a huge advantage, and I just made a terrible mistake. Because right now I have to kill the boss by now, because otherwise I'm basically dead. So I would have another 10 minutes to hit the boss if I had permanent flame shield. Just put that into perspective. Because I don't have to dodge anything. I mean, you have to have the flame shield duration affixes on your gear, and you have to hit them properly. I was at like 4.8 seconds flame shield, I think, at my build. And I still had like 2 more ranks of flame shield I could get from upgrading my gear. And I was like 1 second away from permanent, so... and I didn't have any good cooldown reduction rolls, right? So... And I didn't have the Ice Blade's cooldown reduction as well. So I assume if I have better cooldown reduction rolls, and I get the Ice Blade's cooldown reduction, and also the armor pieces with the flame shield I had were just 8 out of 12. So if they go to 12 out of 12, that's going to be another probably, you know, half a second flame shield duration, or maybe like 0.25 seconds or something like that. So I think it works. I think you can get it to like 5.5 seconds flame shield duration. And with the proper cooldown reduction, I think you can get it done. And it was also not really conditional, because you can pretty much rely on these conjurations being spawned. And then there's one more switch. So I have a better Winterglass with a higher conjuration spawn chance as well. That's another switch I can flip there. So I have minus 43, and I have another one with 46. Yeah, exactly. I also have like a flame shield. I mean, it has +3. I don't have greater affix. But I think it goes to +5 if it hits 12 out of 12. And mine is at +3 right now, so I think it will work. I'm pretty sure it will work. No, that's not gonna be working with the Hectic, because if you use the Hectic, you're not gonna spawn Conjurations, and the main cooldown reduction comes from the Ice Blades. So if you have a critical mass of Ice Blades out, and again with the boss it's no problem because they don't need to move, right? They just stand in front of the boss and just hit it all the time. And the critical mass of Ice Blades just gives you the cooldown reduction on the Flame Shield. So it really works at a certain amount of Ice Blades. You have to like fully commit into it, right? You have to go Ice Blade Enchant, you have to go Enchantment Master, you have to go all cooldown reduction on Ice Blades, you have to go Ice Blade cooldown reduction on Ring. And then you reach the critical mass of Ice Blades, which is actually gonna make it work. I'm not updating the build, because the build is still good. What I'm playing right now is for specifically farming, has nothing to do with the build guide. Build guide is still good. You don't have to play what I'm playing right now. This requires like pretty heavy items and breakpoints. I didn't see this guy. So the build guide is still the build guide. Wow. This boss is like just nuts. These shadow bolts. Oh, not that guy. I mean, you can already see, like, right now, I have not even extra ranks into Flame Shield, right? And my Flame Shield cooldowns are already, like, pretty low. Like, I get it back very, very fast already. And I don't have any extra ranks, and I don't have any extra Flame Shield duration or anything. So at this point, you could also probably do Flame Shield duration on your defensive pieces, would still work just fine. So how much do I have? Another 382. So I guess I can safely update these. No, I don't know if I want to update these gloves yet. I'm not gonna update anything at this point, I guess. I'm still gonna wait for more materials. No, you don't want to hit Ice Blade's cooldown. Cooldown reduction is multiplicative, so it's really not so crazy. On the rings, you have to hit your attack speed. And again, you probably have to use Tal Rasha ring. Again, I have to figure that out. If you have 2 times Ice Blade's cooldown on the rings, you might be able to get away without the cooldown reduction from Tal Rasha. But also the Tal Rasha cooldown reduction obviously also decreases the base Flame Shield. So I really have to balance it out. And you have to upgrade your items to max. It's hard to test, because if you use these, where are they? These two, right? They still get like 15% more on the Flame Shield duration. So this one as well, right? This is as +4 Flame Shield. I think this goes to +5. So, and this one is a min roll Flame Shield duration, but you know, it's critted. But I mean, if I really want to, like, you know, go get my fortune, I have 4 Tempas left on this, so I might hit Flame Shield duration again on this FX, right? But yeah. Ice Blade itself reduces other cooldowns. Yes. So Ice Blades, if you have to commit into Ice Blades, right? So if you just, you know, do 2 Ice Blades, it's not going to do a whole lot. But you commit basically by using, so you got to use Enchantment Master. So you really go for a huge commitment, right? You go for Enchantment Master, which is a retarded commitment. This is like the most far away glyph to basically get, right? But you get it because you're going to reduce it from 40 seconds to 33 seconds cooldowns, right? And then you got to get the where is it? The Conjurer. This one here, Elemental Summoner. So you're going to get the Elemental Summoner. And this is going to be another 10% cooldown reduction on the Ice Blades. And then, you know, one Ice Blade says 9.45 seconds, right? So basically every 3 Ice Blades and 1 Flame Shield is going to spawn a new Ice Blade. And then you add like Frost Armor, which is another 13-3. So basically the Ice Blade enchant is going to spawn Ice Blades all the time. And then every single Ice Blade is going to reduce the cooldown with every hit once again, right? Every hit 20%, so every hit is 0.1 second, right? So every hit of an Ice Blade reduces all your other cooldowns by 0.1 seconds, and you basically have like 10 Ice Blades out at a time, and they have the maximum attack speed as well, so they really do a lot of hits, right? So it's really gonna work. No, the extra projectiles cannot spawn the Frozen Orb enchantment. So it's like false information. So the Conjurations spawned by this are only going to be spawned by the initial Frozen Orb you cast. They're not going to be spawned by the Frozen Orb enchantment. They're not going to be spawned by the additional projectiles. No, they don't. I tested it. And you also said the Winterglyph is working on bosses. So seriously, just stop spreading false information, please. They don't. I test all these things. They specifically said in the patch note it was a bug in the PTR and they removed it, okay? It is out. They don't. Go to the dummy, shoot your Frozen Orbs, look at the Frozen Orb. So really, go to the dummy, right? Pick Frozen Orb enchantment and just shoot fireballs in the air and look at your Frozen Orb. They're not going to spawn a goddamn Conjuration. You can spawn 4 orbs with 1 cast, but they're not going to spawn a Conjuration. Only the first orb you cast is going to spawn a Conjuration. That is what it is. The extra orbs are just extra orbs. And obviously you can spawn 4 with 1 cast. This is 1, 2, the enchantment is 3, and your initial orb is 4. But what's the whole discussion about that? Like, you can, but, you know, it doesn't matter. The chances are the chances. The extra orbs cannot be procced by extra projectiles. No. That is not true. Your Frozen Orb enchantment is procced if you cast a skill. They are not procced by... So, this extra cast cannot cast... These both count, right? This is 1, this is 2. Okay, these chances are individually. So these both can proc at the same time. That's 2 extra Frozen Orbs. And then 1 can proc the Frozen Orb enchantment. And then that's 4, right? That is what you're seeing there. These do not count as casts. They just cast a second projectile, and it does not trigger the enchantment. But anyway, so I'm gonna be probably like back like on Friday with the Immortal build. So the build is fine. It's not gonna get upgraded until I decide to upgrade it. So the build is still fine. Ignore what I'm playing. You're still supposed to use the stuff. The build is still fine. Anyway, so thanks for watching, and I see you guys next time. I gotta go to bed. It's late. So stay tuned for the Immortal. It's gonna work.